This is Gate City Blue Devil Championship Football on STE Channel 30 from battle-scarred Legion Field in Gate City. We welcome you to Channel 30's tape-delayed broadcast of today's game. We also welcome those of you who are listening to the live audio broadcast of this game. Today it's the Virginia High School League Group AA Division III Championship game, featuring the Broadway Gobblers versus the Gate City Blue Devils. Today's videographers are Tammy Tadlock, Daniel Darty, and today special sideline videographer Chad Griffith. Daniel is also the producer and director of our broadcast. The manager of Channel 30 is Lloyd Porter. Ms. Gwen Godsey is Channel 30's program director. Daniel Darty is the production supervisor of Channel 30. This is Larry Shelton, joined as always by Mark Blanton, as we prepare to bring you today's Virginia High School Group AA Division III Championship game. Mark and I will be back to talk about today's game, but first, let's give the fine people who sponsored this championship game a chance to have their commercials shown.
For professional hair care, visit the Hair Studio in Weber City. The Hair Studio specializes in cuts, perms, color and highlights, and sells quality Matrix and Redken products. At the Hair Studio, choose from 6 stylists: Karen, Conda, Edna, Michelle, Scarlett, or Leanne. Also available is electrolysis by Phyllis and Donna, tanning beds, and jewelry. Call receptionist Leanne today for an appointment or just walk in. The Hair Studio, located across from Holston View Cemetery in Weber City.
There are many reasons people from Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee come to Roberts Tire and Recapping in Weber City, Virginia. Brand name tires for high-performance automobiles, 4x4 pickups, trucks, and farm equipment, plus a full line of retreading. Brake repair service for all cars, both foreign and domestic. The latest technology and computerized alignment system for both automobiles and trucks. ASE certified mechanics for tune-ups and exhaust system repair. That's reason enough to come to Roberts Tire and Recapping in Weber City, Virginia.
Graphics, quality offset and screen printing is available from experienced staff at reasonable prices. Whether you need quality printing of your business and personal stationery or products for your wedding or anniversary, State Line Graphics can do the job the way you want it done. State Line Graphics also offers custom screen printing of t-shirts, caps, and much more. So for excellent quality in all your printing needs, visit State Line Graphics in Weber City, serving all of Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee since 1989. Welcome to First Step Rehab Outpatient Clinic. First Step Rehab provides quality services of physical therapy and athletic training, as well as occupational and speech therapy. The certified staff at First Step Rehab specializes in sports injuries, orthopedic, neurological, and pediatric rehabilitation. Why travel somewhere else when you can receive the best in rehabilitative services right here in Gate City? First Step Rehab, more than a business, a part of the community. Located across from Gate City High School on Kane Street. Gate City Ford is having a record year, and to keep up the pace, they must sell 30 new cars or trucks by November 30th. Gate City Ford has a huge inventory of new 1998 vehicles to choose from, with special financing as low as 2.9% on selected new vehicles. Before you buy a new car or truck, you must visit Gate City Ford first. Gate City Ford also offers a full line of used cars and trucks, as well as genuine Ford parts and service. And be sure to check out Gate City Ford's new used car center, specializing in 4-wheel drive and sport utility vehicles. Gate City Ford, located on Highway 23 in Gate City.
This is what all the two-a-days in August, all the practice, all the games, all the hard work is about to get to this game. Both teams probably weren't expected to be here. Both teams defeated teams last week that were probably better. Both teams are similar in size. I read where the coach for Broadway said his team plays with a lot of heart. We know one of the Blue Devils' strengths is heart. The thing that favors the Blue Devils, in my opinion, are: number 1, playoff-tested players and coaching staff. Number 2, strength of schedule. Number 3, home field advantage. And number 4, the pride and tradition of Cyrus Safaris, Ed Britt, Jason Broadwater, Clint Weininger, Matt Osborne, Brandon Seaver, Lazario Marin, Adam McClellan, Joe Churchwell, Darren Grizzle, Andy Smith, Chris McDonald, Ricky Clendenin, Josh Calhoun, Anthony Colabro, and Jake Housewright. Those 16 seniors who were denied the chance to win a championship in 1994 against John Hanley. And last year with a disappointing loss at Brookville in the semifinal game.
Well, Larry, those are 4 real good points, and I think you're exactly right. For those 16 young men right here today, nothing dwells anymore in their hearts than bringing a state championship back to Legion Field and back to Gate City. And again, with the opportunity to win at home, I'm going to tell you, these guys are ready to play football.
Well, you and I have been around all week at different times during the week. I believe these Blue Devils are focused.
Well, I tell you, Larry, I think yesterday it really hit me probably more so than it has any other time this week, even though we've been around the players, like you said, mostly since Tuesday. Yesterday, Daniel and I had the opportunity to go up and be at the pep rally, and I got to tell you, they were really the school spirit, the students, the administrative people, the teachers, the parents that came to the pep rally yesterday. Everybody, it was really an inspirational, really emotional pep rally. One of the best I've ever seen.
And you know, Mark, Broadway, you have an article that's in the Bristol paper, and one of the things we've heard, they're a team that wasn't expected to be here. A team that's pretty scrappy. They don't have any outstanding athletes. Anybody probably, according to the people we've talked to, that might be recruited by Division I schools. But they're just a group of kids that play together, they play hard, and they brought a big following, and that following is very loud.
Hey, they have brought a big following, Larry. As we look across the way to the visitor side, you know, it's predominantly green and white, and that's something that we're not used to seeing across the way as the visiting sidelines being pretty much filled with the opponent's following. But, yeah, you know, Broadway's kind of in the, you know, I kind of liked what their coach said, and again, for a second week in a row, Gate City and the Gate City coaching staff is facing a rookie coach. As the coach for Broadway is in his first year up there, they weren't expected to be here. I think you made a good point in your 4 points there when you opened about the strength of schedule. Broadway plays 4 single-A schools, I believe, in a regular season. Gate City only plays 2. And, you know, we really don't know a lot about the teams out of that district other than the stated obvious facts that there's never been a state championship won by a Valley District school. This team was only in the playoffs one time, and that was 10 years ago. So, you know, they're riding a big emotional high, and sometimes that can mean a whole lot. That can mean that's worth several points at times.
Well, you were part of the 1970 squad, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And of course, that was an emotional time for the kids at Gate City. We were talking about before we came on there. No team in the state of Virginia had been in the playoffs before the year 1970.
Well, that's true. That was the first year of the playoff system, and you know, this team finds itself pretty much in the same situation, I guess, that Gate City was in and everybody was in 1970, not really knowing what to expect, being this far into a schedule this late in the season. And it's like, you know, what's next? You know, we've never done this. And I'm sure the Broadway team is pretty much the same, similar situation. But, you know, Larry, you were talking about no Division I prospects. Actually, you and I and some of the other guys here in the press box today was talking to the visiting radio station from up around Broadway, and actually some of their best players or running backs didn't even make the all-district squad up there.
Yeah, he was telling us about one that either I think it was at Combs that led the district in rushing.
Yeah, Combs actually had 1,452 yards and 10 touchdowns on the season this year, and Glevier, 1,213 yards rushing, 15 touchdowns, and wingback Mark Long had 300 yards, and Collins, the quarterback, was almost 600 yards passing with 3 touchdowns, but he did have 13 interceptions on the season so far. But, yeah, as he said, you know, you've got 2 running backs that went well over 1,000 yards in the regular season and didn't even make the all-district team.
I tell you, Mark, you know, like you said, we don't have any idea what kind of football they play up there. I got to believe it's more of a wide-open style type football. I think they probably don't throw the football a whole lot, but I figured they throw it probably on an average of 16, 17 times a game. To have 2 backs in the same backfield in the same year to have over 1,000 yards, to me, says that you had to have, first of all, good blocking.
Yeah.
But also you probably had to have the element of being able to throw the football too, or defenses would be geared to shut down the running game.
Well, we know they run a wing T, which we've seen many times this season from several different opponents. I'm not too excited about this, but they run a variation. It's not a true wing T, double wing T offense like we may have seen. They run a variation, but they do have to have some blocking up front. There's backs as good as they get. Can't get that kind of yardage without some good line play. And their defense has played very good all year. I think the strength of this team probably is may be their defense. And Brian Good, a 5'11", 234-pound senior, will line up at nose guard as they run a basic 5-3 defense with 5 down linemen, 3 linebackers. But I'm expecting maybe to see them go away from that 53 defense and bring maybe somewhere 6, 7, 8 men on the line.
Yeah, Good is probably their most heralded defensive ball player. I did read once in one of the publications that both their cornerbacks are returning. I think they had to find 2 new defensive ends at the start of this year. I believe maybe both defensive tackles were returning from last year. They had some holes to fill. Every high school does every year. Yeah. They have, I believe I counted, they have in excess of 20 seniors on this team. Gate City has 16. It's just one of those things, Mark. You're going to turn over 14, 15 kids about every year, and filling those spots and filling them with the right people is the name of this game when it comes to coaching stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. Let's take something else into account today. Although we are inside out of the wind, and a lot of fans are out there braving this cold, near zero wind chill weather. That could be a factor in today's game. The ball's going to be a little harder. It's going to be a little harder to handle. And when I say harder, I don't mean just because of the cold, but the actual physical condition of the football will be harder because of the cold weather. It's going to sting a little bit more. When and if you throw a pass, it's going to be a little harder to catch. And cold hands and cold fingers, who knows? I'm sure neither team has played in this type of weather conditions, although we're fortunate that it is fairly dry here at Legion Field. The center of the field looks to be in good shape.
I think it's in good shape. Mark, I kind of wanted to get into Gate City High School holds 5 state AA records. Number 1, they hold a record for the most first downs, 27 against Amherst in 1974. The second one is total yardage, 1,615 yards in the same game against Amherst. The most passes intercepted had 5 versus Amherst in 1974. Most points scored, 71 points against Amherst in 1974. And last, the biggest margin. Gate City won that ball game 71 to 18, a 53-point margin. And that was, again, in 1974. We also have 3 individual records from young men that played at Gate City. The best average on 10 or more carries is held by Mickey Rogers. He had 14 carries for 299 yards in the Amherst game, an average of 21.3 yards per carry. The most touchdowns was also held by Mickey Rogers. He had 5 in that 1974 Amherst game. And the longest kickoff return, and one I'm sure you remember, is a 94-yard kickoff return by Philip Rogers in the first championship game played by Gate City High School in 1970 versus James Monroe.
Yeah, well, I remember both of those games very well, and certainly you're right. I do remember Philip's opening game kickoff return in Fredericksburg that year, and it was a day that wasn't, or a night, that was a night game, but certainly the temperatures were very similar to what they are right now. So it was very cold to go night that night, but you're right. Gate City holds a lot of records, most of them going to that 74 team, and what a great team that was. But, this is 97. Gate City's been involved in 5. This is their 5th state championship game. They're 2-2. And it's been a long time, and I think these 16 kids, well, I think all 51 kids on the roster, but I think these 16 seniors can remember what happened to them in 1994 right here.
Well, Mark, one thing that I like, the way a lot of people that were on the 70 and the 74 team have handled this is this group of kids' year. This is their year, their time. it's their time to play for the championship. Hopefully, they'll come away a winner.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I think that's an important thing. This is their time. You know, what's in the past, as Coach Rogers said yesterday at the pep rally, that's history. And this is their time. The time is now, and that's the thing they're going to remember and be able to take with them, you know, win or lose. They're going to remember the time that they had even the opportunity to play for a state championship their senior year at Gate City.
Well, we're only minutes away from kickoff. We'll take a break, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes with the opening lineups for today's game.
Football on Channel 30 is also brought to you by Weber City Drug Center. For all your pharmaceutical needs, visit Larry Snap and the staff at Weber City Drug Center. By Daugherty Brothers Chevrolet Geo Jeep Eagle. Stop by today and experience the Daugherty difference. By Photogenius and Image Consultants. For the best in photography and video production, choose the experts at Photogenius. By Big Break Exxon. Visit Big Break Exxon and run with the Tiger. Now with 2 locations in Weber City. By New Image Hair, Nails, and Tanning Salon, featuring gift sets, cosmetics, jewelry, purses, and more, all with great holiday prices, located in the Food City Shopping Center. By Scott Jewelers. Scott Jewelers is your quality jeweler with great prices on your favorite watches and jewelry. By Showtime Video. Showtime Video is your hometown video store with rentals of videos, games, and game systems. By Fantastic Sports, featuring clothes, collectibles, and more for the Tennessee Vol fan. By Southern Finance. Southern Finance is your independent community lender and Scott County's only locally owned consumer finance company. And by Robinette Steel, providing steel products for Southwest Virginia and the surrounding area.
We're back at Legion Field, only moments away from the opening kickoff, and here's Mark with the Gate City starting lineup.
Yeah, Larry, as you watch the captains assemble at midfield, we'll tell you that as we have all year, the Gate City offensive starting lineup. That's split in. Number 25, 5'9", 140-pound senior, Adam McClellan. At left tackle, number 50, 6'2", 230-pound senior, Joe Churchwell. At left guard, number 51, a 5'8", 197-pound sophomore, Andy Johnson. At center, number 62, 6 foot 2 inches, 194-pound senior, Chris McDonald. At right guard, number 64 will be 5'11", 194-pound junior, Aaron Pearson. At right tackle, number 71, a 5'10", 225-pound freshman, Michael Lee. At tight end on the right side will be number 89, a 6 foot, 210-pound senior, Anthony Colabro. At right halfback, number 20, 6'1", 215-pound senior, Brandon Seaver. At left halfback, number 41, 6'3", 220-pound senior, Jake Housewright. At fullback, number 33, 6'2", 245-pound senior, Andy Smith. And at quarterback, number 15, 6 foot, 215-pound senior, Matt Osborne.
Mark, Broadway won the toss and deferred. The Blue Devils will be receiving. The starting lineup for Broadway. At split end, number 2, Kent Nagy, 5'5", 130-pound senior. At left tackle, Adam Flick, 6'1", 266-pound senior. At left guard, number 64, Randy Lance, 5'8", 170-pound senior. At center, number 68, Tim Knoble, 5'10", 223-pound senior. The right guard, John Enos, 5'11", 171-pound senior. The right tackle, Jim Bean, 5'8", 204-pound senior. The tight end, Randy Enos, 5'10", 180-pound sophomore. The wingback, Mark Long, 5'8", 151-pound junior, number 44. The quarterback, Jason Collins, 6 feet, 173-pound senior. The fullback, Andy Combs, number 32, 5'9", 182-pound junior. And the halfback, Matt Glovier, 5'7", 165-pound senior.
That's right.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Legion Field in Gate City, Virginia, our national anthem. Mark, how ironic it would be. The Blue Devils will have the opening kickoff to run the opening kickoff back 94, 97 yards like Philip Rogers did in 1970.
Well, that would be real ironic. That's, you know, I believe that's the first time this year that I can remember that a opposing team has deferred till the second half.
As the Blue Devils have entered Legion Field, the Division III Group AA State Championship today to be played between Broadway, the Gobblers of Broadway, and the Gate City Blue Devils. As Gate City appears to be ready to play, Mark, I think.
I think they've been ready all week, Larry, and you know, I think this has been anticipated. I think it's been a week that I really think that, you know, that probably the jitters are probably gone more now than they were earlier in the week. I think they've had, you know, I think the anticipation waiting to get here, waiting for Saturday to roll around has probably been worse than this morning's preparation before the game.
Oh, I venture to say probably a lot of these young men dressed in blue and a lot of those young men dressed in green and white probably didn't have a good night's sleep last night.
No, I'm sure you're probably right. And, you know, every waking moment they've been thinking about this game and what it means to them. And, you know, let's don't make any mistake about it. It means as much to those boys in green and white as it does to the blue and white. But I feel real good about our chances today.
Greg Baker will be kicking off for the Gobblers, and back deep for the Blue Devils to receive number 8, Ed Britt, and number 15, Matt Osborne. As we're only moments away from the opening kickoff of the 1997 Group AA Division III State Championship.
Well, there's a good crowd here today for today's game.
A very vocal crowd. The Blue Devil crowd's always
very fashionable crowd, too.
Right. And a lot of green and white on the far side.
I think fashion has been thrown to the wind.
And almost a little muddle huddle deal there.
I don't know what that is. It was cute.
As Baker hits a short end-over-end kick. It's going to be fielded by CEBER on his 25. He looks for a hole, gets up to the 35-yard line, but the Blue Devils will take over in good field position at the 35.
Yeah, still pretty good coverage downfield. It's a relatively short kick, Larry, but good coverage downfield by the Gobblers. It's going to be hard to get used to saying Gobblers.
Well, if you get confused, you can say Warriors.
I'll not go there.
Blue Devils come to the line of scrimmage in a full house backfield, 2 tight ends. With Housewright. Smith goes in motion. Hand off to Housewright, running over right tackle, and he picks up about 3 yards on the play, up to the 38-yard line, or close to it.
Yeah, they're going to test the waters early. Lead block, big lead block with Andy Smith in there as they put Andy in motion, and send Brandon CEBER in as the lead block and run Jake Housewright in there, and as you said, picked up about 3 tough yards.
Is Broadway kind of doing what you thought they would do on offense? I mean, on defense.
Well, they're in a basic 53 right now,
but it's pretty tight.
Yes, it is.
Full house again as Smith goes in motion to his left. Hand off this time to CEBER. He gets a corner at the 40. Gets up across the 45, has a first down, Blue Devil.
Brought down on the far sideline by number 5, Jason Collins, and had it not been for Collins, Brandon CEBER had a lot of running room in front of him.
First and 10, Gate City at their own 47. as the Blue Devils try a little wide running that time with Brandon CEBER.
Well, I got to believe it. You know, with this defense and the all the hype about the nose guard, Brian Good, they're going to try to widen it out to get it to the corners and try to loosen the center of the defensive line up.
Full house again. Hand off to Andy Smith over right guard, right tackle. He gets down into Gobbler territory at the 47, gain of close to 5 yards on the play.
Yeah, and there was a good hole that time for Andy Smith to run through, and a good run by Andy Smith.
It appears right now, Mark, more than anything, Gate City's just lining up 2 tight ends, full house, and just running right straight at you.
Yeah, and I believe, you know, we talked about it earlier, and I think I told you earlier in the week, the way you run it, the 53 defenses go right to it.
Full house again, 2nd down and 5. Handoff, this time to Housewright behind 2 blocks. He fights for extra yardage. It's going to be close to a first down, maybe just inches short.
Yeah, that's going to depend on the spot. Looks like he's going to be awfully close from our vantage point.
68, Tim Noble, and number 79, Moo Young.
It's going to be 3rd down, no measurement asked for. 3rd down at the Gobbler, we'll call it the 44-yard line.
You know, I kind of suspected if the Gobblers stayed in a 53 defense that we would run a lot of quick opening stuff inside, maybe some to the outside to loosen the center of the lineup, and then do just what we did with Andy Smith, give him the quick opener inside.
3rd down and inches. Osborne hands off to CEBER. Cuts it inside over left guard, gets down to the 40, 1st and 10 Blue Devils.
That'll be enough for Blue Devil, first down.
Kind of a little trap play that time, Larry, is they fake to the right side and counter back on the counter with Brandon CEBER running back to his left, right over Joe Churchwell and right between Joe Churchwell and Andy Johnson.
We're at 9:21 to go, first quarter, no score. Blue Devils have it 1st and 10 on the 39-yard line of Broadway. Now this time, for the first time, the Devils go to a wing-back set to the left. Handoff to CEBER. And he cuts it back inside and only gains a yard that time as
Brandon CEBER on the
we're able to get the block down on the corner, I believe, Mark.
Yeah, Gobblers do a pretty good job stacking it up inside that time. Devils actually running back to the weak side as we were set strong side to the right or unbalanced to the right. And run back with CEBER. And, you know, you got to figure their big key is their king on Jake Housewright. They know they have to stop Jake Housewright, and I kind of like what the coaching staff's doing early. Give it to Housewright a couple times early, come back, give it to Andy Smith and Brandon CEBER. You got to figure their king on Big Jake.
Back to the full house this time for the Blue Devils. Hand off to Housewright. He runs over a man and dives across the 35 down to the 34. It's going to bring up a 3rd down and probably about 6 yards to go.
I think that's a very good assessment, Larry. He ran over a man, that man being Greg Baker, number 21, and Baker got an arm load of Big Jake Housewright, and I'm sure he knows that that's going to be a load for him to bring down all day.
3rd down and 5 at the 34-yard line of Broadway. Full house again. Head off to Housewright. Cuts it inside over the 30, down to the 29. Should be 1st and 10 Blue Devils.
And it is 1st down, Larry, and I tell you one thing. You got to like what these Blue Devils are doing. You got to like the game plan so far. Line it up, take it right up the middle, wear down that front defensive line, take a lot of time off the clock.
Ball spotted at the 29 of the Gobblers. 1st and 10, Gate City. 7:39 to go, first quarter, no score.
I'll tell you the thing right now we got working for us is execution.
Full house backfield again. Osborne hands off to Smith. Just right up the gut, right over left guard. Gets inside the 25, down to the 24 of Broadway.
Good double team block that time on Brian Good inside number 59. I know if you could see, like I could see the double team on Good, and Andy Smith gets right in between where Andy Johnson and Joe Churchwell would be with a good opening in there.
2nd down and 5. So far the Blue Devils have run just mostly right at Broadway's 5-man front. Osborne hand off to Housewright this time, and he's stacked up after he gains maybe only a half yard.
Yeah, it looks like about 10 of those green and white jerseys were in there that time. I've only seen maybe the safety that wasn't in on the tackle. They're doing a pretty good job keying on Jake Housewright. And, you know, I think probably one of the biggest strengths of this
outside the 24-yard line.
I keep wanting to say Bulldog defense. Who is green and white that are Bulldogs? Tazewell?
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to say Bulldogs. But Gobbler defense, probably their linebackers have a lot of quickness.
3rd down and about 4 yards to go. Osborne hands off to CEBER, trying to get outside. Tries to break a tackle. He's brought down at about the 20-yard line. It's going to bring up a 4th down and about 1.5 yards for a first.
Yeah, it looked like that the play was designed to go right off of the end on the left side, and Brandon broke outside as it looked like he had some running room out there, and just caught from behind just a little bit by number 11, I believe that was for the Gobblers.
So this time now, the first time the Blue Devils have a 4th down situation with 5:45 to go, first quarter. The Devils need to make the 19-yard line of Broadway. They stay on the full house backfield. Osborne hands off to Houseright. He's got his first down and more. He's inside the 14, inside the 10, drags tacklers down to the 7-yard line.
Yeah, Big Jake Houseright got a good opening, a little bit of running room, and then just was able to drag tacklers, as you said, actually dragging as many as 3 tacklers, or would-be tacklers, I guess we should say. They finally brought him down inside the 10, but that's a fine run by Jake Houseright.
That was almost a quick opener, too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
1st and goal, Blue Devils at the 7. Osborne hands off to Smith. He bounces off the tacklers, fights for extra yardage, maybe gains 1 yard or 1.5 yards down close to the 5.
Well, that was a tough 1.5 yard game for Andy Smith. He kept his momentum going forward and kept his feet moving and was trying his best to break loose on that, but some good penetration by the front line of the Gobblers.
2nd down and goal for the Blue Devils. 4:45 to go, first quarter, no score. The ball's just nose on the 5-yard line. Full house with Houseright now shifted to the fullback spot in the full house. Smith goes in motion. Hand off, kept by Osborne, dives to the goal line. Touchdown, Matt Osborne.
That's a good play. You put Andy Smith in motion to the right. You fake it inside on the quick opener to CEBER, and Matt Osborne just tucks the ball, follows the lead block by Jake and Andy Smith, and gets into the end zone.
And the Blue Devils use up
almost 8 minutes.
Almost 8
over
minutes.
7.5 minutes on that drive.
4:24 to go. First quarter is Adam McClellan lines up for the point after. Get a good snap. Osborne gets it down. McClellan gets it up, and it's good. So with 4:24 to go, first quarter, the Blue Devils lead by a score of 7-0.
And with that, we'll tell you that Blue Devils State Championship football playoff action is brought to you by Gate City Ford. At Gate City Ford, they're having a record year, and to keep up the pace, they must sell 30 new cars or trucks by the end of the month. Gate City Ford has a huge inventory of new 1998 models to choose from, with special financing as low as 2.9% on selected new vehicles. And by Roberts Tire and Recapping. At Roberts Tire and Recapping, problems with your tires, brakes, and air conditioning will be eliminated at the best prices in town. Need an alignment or a tune-up? Bring your car to Roberts. You'll be glad you did.
By Scott Telecom and Electronics. Scott Telecom and Electronics takes pride in providing dedicated service to the communities of Scott County. From quality cable television to cellular phone service, STE is big enough to serve you and small enough to care. As McClellan prepares to kick off back deep for the Gobblers is number 1, Matt Glovier, and I believe the other is number 44, Mark Long.
Well, you talk about something wearing on a defense. It's an offensive drive like that right there.
Well, that was textbook, Mark. It was just textbook line up and run right at you.
Yeah, just execution, just pure execution.
As McClellan has the ball teed at his 40, and as he starts forward, the wind blows it off the tee.
Well, there's still a very brisk wind blowing from the west, right at the back of Adam McClellan, the direction we're kicking. And I'm sure that you wouldn't be able to get those fans out there to admit there's a wind blowing like that.
I'd say the Gate City fans right now It feels like you're 75 and in Miami.
Yeah.
McClellan hits a end-over-end kick. It's going to be fielded by Glovier at his 4. He's up to the 10, the 15, the 20. And the Blue Devils hit and tackle him as he gets across the 25 down to about the 26-yard line.
Yeah, among those on the tackle, number 40 is Brandon Chapman, 43 is Sean Hutchins, and 44 is Nathan Shreve.
So our first time to see Broadway in an offensive set. As they come to the line of scrimmage in a double wing formation with Glovier, the back in the backfield. He tries to get around the corner. That's Combs on the carry instead of Glovier. He's able to pick up maybe 2 yards up close to the 20, about the 28-yard line.
It's taken down over there across the way by number 8, Ed Britt.
Second down and 8 for the Gobblers.
Second down and 8. We're down to 3:53 to go first quarter. The Blue Devils lead the Gobblers by a score of 7-0. Combs, as they're back in the double wing set. Long. Collins drops straight back. Those are passes complete up to the 34-yard line. The man that made the catch was number 44, Mark Long. He's going to be short of a first down by about a yard.
Yeah, I was going to say Brandon Seaver on the coverage that time, and Collins actually rolling to his left had a lot of time to throw the ball there.
I've forgotten who the quarterback was, Mark. Watching you, right?
Number 5.
Number 5. Collins brings his team to the line of scrimmage in that double wing again. It's a handoff. This time to Combs, and he's hit about the line of scrimmage, but there's a flag on the play.
Yeah, he's upended there by number 14, Clint Weiniger.
14 Weiniger.
I believe this penalty.
And Collibro on the stop, along with House Rod.
That's going to be against the
I think it's
Gobblers.
a procedure penalty, motion penalty. Illegal motion called against the Gobblers.
Motion against Broadway.
It'll be a 5-yard step off.
No, they're going to
The
decline.
Blue Devils going to decline it and make it fourth down. Ah.
4th down and 1 for Broadway.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 4th and 1. A big gamble this early for Broadway.
Well, I think he's considering it.
Sure taking his time.
I'm glad this is the first game of the season you and I have done. I'll tell you, this excitement has been building on all of us all week. They're going
They're coming to the line of scrimmage to go for it, I believe, and now they ask for timeout.
Broadway.
Somebody, well, with that timeout, I was going to say somebody over there woke up. With that timeout, we'll tell you that Big Blue playoff football action is brought to you by the Hair Studio. For quality hair care by qualified professionals, visit the Hair Studio in Weber City. The Hair Studio offers 6 hairstylists, electrolysis by Phyllis and Donna, tanning beds, jewelry, and more. Call for an appointment or just walk in.
By State Line Graphics. For quality offset and screen printing for all your business and personal needs, visit State Line Graphics, serving Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee since 1989. As now, after somebody woke up, they're going to drop back and punt, Mark.
Well, I thought either that or they had temporary brain damage on everything.
Back doing the punting is number 43. That's Randy Enos. Back deep for the Blue Devils to receive is Jake Houseright and Matt Osborne. As Enos gets a pretty good snap, gets off a punt off the side of his foot. Either that or the wind caught it, and it's going to be blown dead on the Gate City 45-yard line.
Yeah, it looked more like the wind may have just helped hang it up there. It didn't look like he got all of his foot into it, but the punt was, looked like, I tell you, that is a strong wind blowing right back in the face of the Gobblers. And that could have been one thing that, what's the coach's name over there?
Bowers, Rod Bowers.
Yeah, Coach Bowers was thinking about. We've got all this down pat as to who we're playing.
All the research we've done all week just went out the window of the wind.
We've read about it all week, and that can't even get the name right. We should have threw it away.
First and 10 Blue Devils at their own 45-yard line. Osborne on a keeper. Dives across the 45 up to the 47.
On the quarterback keeper.
I believe that was a busted play.
I do too. I think since Osborne ran right and everybody else went left, it was a busted play.
Yeah, somebody busted on that. Somebody was on a different page in the playbook that time.
Still a gain of about 2 yards on the play. He's going to bring up 2nd down and 8 from the Blue Devil 47. Blue Devils again 1st and 10. 2nd and 8 and a full house. 2 tight ends. Osborne for his first pass. Throws the ball over the middle. That's intended for Adam McClellan, just off his fingertips, incomplete.
Well, just barely off the fingertips.
If Matt puts just a little iron under that, Adam catches it, and I don't think anybody catches him.
No, he had a couple of steps on the defender and was just barely out of range. And I see Adam is shaking his hand where the ball hit it. You know that has got to sting on a day like today.
Feels like a rock.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to bring up 3rd down and 8 from the Blue Devil 47. As the Devils seem to be taking a little bit longer than normal. And Jake Housewright turns around to the referee and asks for timeout.
You think we were about to run out of time?
I think we were.
Before we could got to playoff. Okay. Big Blue playoff football action is brought to you by First Step Rehab. First Step Rehab provides quality services of physical therapy and athletic training, specializing in occupational and speech therapy, sports injuries, and orthopedic, neurological, and pediatric rehabilitation. First Step Rehab is proud to be a part of this Gate City community.
Big Blue playoff games are also brought to you by Weber City Drug Center, Photogenius Image Consultants, Big Break Exxon, Darty Brothers Chevrolet GOG Peagle, New Image Hair, Nails and Beauty Salon, Scott Jewelers, Fantastic Sports, Robinette Steel, Southern Finance, and Showtime Video. Thanks to all these fine sponsors who have made championship playoff football available for our public. Blue Devils now with a 3rd down and 8, ball on their own 47. Split out a wide out to the left in Saru Safaris. Osborne runs the option left with CEBER trailing. Pitches to CEBER. Dives for the 1st down marker, and it's going to be maybe a yard short. Needed to get to the 45. Ball's going to be spotted, I think, at about the 46.
For the Gobblers.
And it's going to be 4th down and a good yard right here.
4th down for the Blue
Yeah, I
Devils.
believe the Blue Devil's going to go for this.
I think the Blue Devil's going to go for it. 4th and 1 at the Gobbler 46-yard line. Like the backfield had a little indecision on who's where. Osborne. Hand off. Andy Smith dives across the 45. Should be 1st and 10 Blue Devil.
Well,
Across the 45-yard line.
little indecision in the backfield that time, or may have just been sorting out what play they wanted to run.
Yeah, after last week.
1st down Blue Devils.
1:25 to go, 1st quarter. The Blue Devils lead the Gobblers of Broadway by a score of 7-0.
Yeah, they also lead in time management too.
Yeah, possession of the football.
Yes.
1st and 10 Blue Devils at the 44 of Broadway. Option. Osborne keeps hit and tackled at the line of scrimmage as the first real good defensive play made by the Gobblers.
Yeah, and it was made by the heralded nose guard there, Brian Good, as he got off his block very quick and was actually able to catch Osborne from behind before he had time to even make an attempt to execute.
It's going to bring up a 2nd down and 10 from the 45. We're inside of 40 seconds to go in the 1st quarter. If you just joined, the Blue Devils are moving from your left to right as you listen. They also are leading on the scoreboard by a score of 7-0. And now I have a 2nd down and 10 at the Broadway 45-yard line. Osborne runs a little trap to the left, back to Housewright, cuts it inside. Loses his footing when he gets up to about the 31 of Broadway, but He has a 1st and 10 Blue Devils.
Well, that's a play we ran earlier with Brandon CEBER, but Jake Housestright got a big hole in there, was able to cut it upfield. And, you know, that looks like a play that'll go very good, sort of a fake to the right, and you counter back to the left side with a little trap there, Larry, and that opened up real well inside for Jake that time.
As the Blue Devils come to the line of scrimmage, they're down to 5 seconds to go in the first quarter. I think that'll be the last play running in the first quarter. We'll tell you that after 1 quarter of play, the Gate City Blue Devils lead the Broadway Gobblers by a score of 7-0.
We'd like to tell you that the Big Blue Booster Club is selling T-shirts and sweatshirts to raise money for all the athletic programs at Gate City High School. T-shirts are on sale for $10 each. Sweatshirts are on sale for $15 each. These shirts are available at Gate City High School or by calling 386-7522 or at State Line Graphics by calling 386-6662. Be sure and get out, support this Blue Devil athletic program by purchasing your T-shirt or sweatshirt.
You know, just looking down there, you and I looked at Jake Housestright the other day, Mark, and he's got a bad place on his forehead. Well, you said it's probably been
I think it's
for
been
the
there.
helmet.
Yeah, I think it's been there most of the season.
But it looks to be bleeding.
Looks like it's opened up a little bit. They have a Band-Aid on it. He's played with that. I saw him the other day in the trainer's room and in there with Dr. Loggins, as we like to call him, and it's just really not as bad as it looks. You know,
the only thing that bothered me, it looked to me like it
looked like it opened back up.
It might have opened up, and the officials saw that. They might want him to come out and get some attention from Dr. Loggins.
Well, now Dr. Loggins can give him attention.
This probably fix him up physically, too. 1st and 10 Blue Devils at the Broadway 32-yard line. Hand off to Housestright. He breaks the tackle. Struggles forward up close to the 26-yard line of Broadway. Going to gain about 5 yards on the play. And really, if he could have shook that last man off, Mark, he was off to Broadway.
Off to Broadway. Very good. And I don't know whether, in case Coach Bowers and the Gobblers hadn't figured it out yet, they've got their hands full with Jake Housestright today.
2nd down and 5 from the 26-yard line of the Gobblers. Pro set this time by the Blue Devils. Osborne hands off to Smith. He rumbles forward inside the 20 down to the 19. Has a 1st down, Blue Devils.
Man, that's a good run by Andy Smith. Just plowing right up over the guard, tackle, center, and just some good hard running by Andy. Was able to carry a couple of tacklers 2 or 3 yards before they could bring him down.
Blue Devil offensive line is doing an excellent job.
Yeah, and the backs are running real hard and staying low, and like I said earlier, it's just real good execution right now.
Pro set this time with 2 wideouts, one left, one right. Head out to Housestright, big hole at right tackle. Cuts it inside, down close to the 10. It's going to be short of a 1st down by about 2 yards.
Well, you know, there's some good blocks on that side by Aaron Pearson and the freshman Michael Lee and Anthony Collabro.
It's going to bring up 2nd down and about 2. Devils need to make just inside the 10-yard line for a 1st down. 10:37 to go. 2nd quarter, Gate City leads by a score of 7-0. Back to that pro set with wideouts left and right. Osborne hands off to Smith. He lumbers inside the 10, down to the 9, should have it. Should have a 1st down, I would think, for the Blue Devils, depending on the spot.
Yeah, I believe he's got a 1st. That's very close. They're going to bring the chains out here.
He's got it to a football lane.
I know who you and I are betting on, but we'll still have to wait for the officials.
He's not even going to measure. He took a look, said 1st and goal, Blue Devils.
It didn't really look close from here.
1st and goal, Gate City at the Broadway 9-yard line.
For the Blue Devils, 1st and goal, Gate City Blue Devils.
Blue Devils with those a wide out left and one right. Kind of spreads that defense of Broadway out, opens it up in the middle a little more. Unbalanced line. Osborne keeps it, cuts inside. See a flag mark in the area where you would normally have holding.
It's exactly in that area. It would either be a hold or a clip, and I assume it would be a hold as quick as he threw the flag.
59 good on the stop.
Preliminary signal is holding Gate City. So the Blue Devils are going to be backed up 10 yards, I think, from that spot.
Well, you know, that's
John Sabo, we have your driver's license.
that's the kind of thing that the Blue Devils can ill afford to do, get down into inside the red zone and start making mistakes and not getting the ball in, because they're well in control of the ball game right now on the offensive line and offensively and defensively too. So, you know, I think it's important that you get, you know, try to play as mistake-free as you possibly can, but those things are going to happen. And holding's a kind of a official's discretion to call. I mean, you know, it's
First and goal at the 19-yard line now. Full house Devils. Osborne runs the option. Cuts it inside. Breaks the tackle. Down inside the 5 to the 4. So he got all that yardage back plus 3 or 4 extra yards.
Well, I tell you, the option has opened up good both times we ran it. And Matt Osborne made a real good read that time, cut it up, thought about pitching the ball, and then just actually plowed through 2 Gobbler defenders.
Did you hear the announcement Mr. Baker made that they had John Sabo's driver's license in the press box? You know Coach Sabo?
Is that the Sabo from Castlewood?
Yeah, I'd say that's it. For second and goal, Blue Devils at the 5. And off. House route. Trying to get outside. Cuts it inside, driven out of bounds, and lost a couple yards on that play.
House right on the carry.
As some of the speed of Broadway that time, their linebackers and their cornerbacks, Mark, really showed up as Houseright tried to get outside.
Well, the play wasn't designed to go outside, Larry. The play was designed to go off tackle, and the hole was just clogged up in there. Jake took it on his own to cut it outside, which I think was about his only move. He wasn't going to get anything in there where the play was designed to go. And
Third, go ahead.
I was going to say, you're right, the speed of the defenders actually caught up to him that time.
Third down and goal from the 7-yard line. As the Blue Devils have had a little tougher situation here on this possession. Osborne on the keeper, gets it inside at the 5. Struggles forward, and his forward progress is probably going to be stopped at about the 4 or so. It'll be 4th and goal to 4.
Number 51, John Enos on the initial hit for Broadway.
As Gate City, I think, is going to put the field goal unit in.
Ball on the 4-yard line for the Blue
With
Devils.
Adam McClellan.
4th and goal from the 4.
Adam will be kicking directly into the teeth of that wind.
Yes, he will.
You know, I was going to say a while ago, a holding is a penalty that can be called virtually every play. It's just an opinion or a.
Ball will be spotted at the 11. It'll be a 21-yard field goal. Snaps down, kick is up, and the kick is good. So a 21-yard field goal by Adam McClellan makes the score 10-0 with 7:48 to go in the first half.
See how much the wind took off of that kick?
Oh, yeah.
Boy, it just knocked it down, didn't it? On a good calm evening or a good calm day, that football would have traveled well past the vehicles parked down there and behind the fence in the west end zone. But that wind just it just barely got through, didn't it?
Mark, I had a place I was writing some of these things down if I can make my fingers working. And
well, I tell you, it is cold, cold, cold.
But I think it's important that the Devils get something out of that drive.
Well, I do too. I think the thing that probably hurt them worse than anything was the penalty.
Yeah.
It kind of slowed the momentum down, but that's going to happen. But I think you're right. It's important that we came out of there at least 3. But on the other hand, the Gobblers have got to feel that that's a moral victory.
Well, that's probably true. McClellan will be kicking off from a 40 into the teeth of that wind this time. And back deep is Long and Glovier.
I don't suspect we see a low kick here.
An end-over-end kick that is fielded and gone to a knee on the 32-yard line. Best thing you can do.
Yeah, into that wind that prevents a return, prevents any chance of return. The wind's going to, if you hit the ball good, it's going to knock it down. So that's a good execution there.
Broadway will take over at their own 32-yard line. 7:46 to go in the first half. The Devils lead 10-0. They go this time to their normal wingback set to the left. They hand off to Levier running left, and he's in a world of hurt.
Yes, he is. He's in a world of hurt with Brandon Seaver and being pursued by Darren Grizzle. And Glovier would like to have found him a place to hide over there, and there just wasn't any place.
Blue Devils defense swarmed to Glovier, and that's one thing, Mark, I think has been a key all year for Gate City defensively, is a swarming defense.
Now several people around the ball every play. It makes a lot of difference.
Loss of 6 on the play brings up second down and 16. They go to a double wing set this time. Collins drops straight back, throws a pass, has a man that's open, and the pass is complete at the 45-yard line of Gate City. First down, Broadway.
He was shoved out of bounds that time by, I believe, was that Roberts that forced him out of bounds?
I think Roberts did force him out of bounds. I think we had some coverage that wasn't exactly right.
It looked like we may have had a little bit of bust on the coverage. Adam McClellan was late getting across. I'm not sure that if that was Adam's man or not. But number one, who is that?
Number 1 is Glovier.
Glovier had split the defenders, and Collins laid the ball right in there for him.
First down of the game for Broadway. Collins heads off to Combs running left, and he finally is knocked out of bounds after he gains close to 6 yards on the play.
And Brandon Seaver, the man that helped force him out of bounds over there. Pretty good job of pursuit to force Combs to have to run wider than he actually wanted to. You know, we may see the Gobblers put the ball in the air a little bit more for 2 reasons. One, we've shut down their running attack, but they've got the wind at their back now, too.
Right. Second down and 4. They hand off straight ahead to Combs this time, and he stopped right at the line of scrimmage by big Andy Smith.
Darren Grizzle.
Yeah, and Darren Grizzle. Maybe a half-yard gain on the play. He's going to bring up a 3rd down and 2.
Combs on the carry.
Almost 3rd down and 3. They need to make, looks like about the 37-yard line, 38-yard line of Gate City to have a first down.
3rd down and 3 for the Gobblers.
5:40 to go in the first half. The Devils lead Broadway by a score of 10-0. Come in with that double wing attack again. Put the wing back on the left side in motion. Collins rolls to his right, gets some pressure, throws the ball. That is intercepted on a deflection by Roberts. And Roberts intercepted. I wanted to see who the man was that had it. Glovier was the man that it bounced off of.
Well, he actually had his hands on the ball. Looked like he was going to make the reception. It bounced out. And I think Glovier is still arguing the fact that he made the catch or something. I don't know what he's arguing about.
Well, he never had control.
He never. No, Roberts clearly come up with the interception. He was in perfect position.
But I'll tell you one thing, Mark. It's twice a pass to that back out of the backfield has been open. He was really open.
Yes, he was.
But on the turnover, Gate City takes over 1st and 10 at their own 34-yard line. Pro set. They hand off again to Houseright. And he gets up across the 35 to about the 37-yard line. Gains close to about 3 yards on the play. We'll call it 2nd down and 7.
Starting to snow a little bit.
Yes, it is flurrying.
2nd down and 7 for the Blue Devils.
Flurrying. And Daniel has some beautiful shots of the snow-covered mountains, I think, when the people see the broadcast. Blue Devils this time with 2 tight ends in the full house. Head off to Houseright again as they stack it up on that side. Jake fights for extra yardage and only able to get maybe a yard on the play. As things are getting a little tougher now with this defense of Broadway.
Well, it's getting a little tougher right in that one spot, Larry. It looks like on the right in the middle of the line. Their linebackers are able to close up real quick and help stack it up in there.
It's going to bring up 3rd down and 4. This time they go to a pro set with wide out CEBER on the left and McClellan on the right. Osborne bootlegs, throws a pass that is almost intercepted. Pass was intended for his tight end, but the linebacker that time Number 51, John Enos, got a big paw on it, knocked it down, so the Blue Devils will have to punt for the first time.
That was a good fake in there that time by Osborne. I thought he did a good job, pulled it down. He had Anthony Collabro wide open right out here. Just had broken about 7 yards downfield and was wide open on the play. If he just not able to get it over the or by the hand.
Japheth Bright checks in to do the long snapping duties. Gets a good snap off, and Housewright gets a end-over-end punt away that's going to hit and settle on about the 44-yard line. You're not going to get a whole lot going into the wind punting today.
You could see that wind just kind of knock that ball down. Just hard to get anything on it. But now I tell you what, if you're going to punt the ball coming from the other direction, it ought to travel real well if you can get it up.
So Broadway takes over to their own 44. 3:47 to go in the first half. The Devils lead by a score of 10-0. Broadway this time moving from your left to right as you listen. They split out two wideouts to the right. Collins hands off to his running back running left, and he didn't get anything.
He got Jake Housewright.
That was Glovier on the carry that time.
He got a
No gain on the play.
he got a whole armload of Jake Housewright that time.
It's going to bring up second down and 10 from the Gobbler 45. As this time they go to a double wing set with Combs the only back in the backfield. Glovier goes in motion. Collins drops straight back, gets some pressure, throws the ball over the middle, and it's incomplete. The pass is intended for Combs. Collins rushed his throw and threw it a little quick, and
well, I tell you,
the Blue Devils.
The thing that made that was a well-timed hit that time by Nick Collabro.
So incomplete pass stops the clock with 3:04. Third down. Third down and 10 from a 45. They go back to that double wing set again. This time they put Long in motion. Collins rolls to his left. Throws a long pass down the field that's going to really just go out of bounds. Incomplete as Mr. Roberts made the tackle over on the sideline here, I think, of Collins and Andy Smith.
I was looking downfield, followed the pass downfield. I think one of the cameramen about got taken out down there, didn't he?
Well, Coach Roberts got taken out here on the sideline too by Andy Smith and Collins.
Is that right?
But it's going to be 4th and 10 now. 2:56 to go. First half.
43,
Blue Devils with an 8-man line here. Gets a low snap, and he gets off a pretty good punt. Pretty high punt that's fielded by Osborne at his 23. Breaks 2 tackles and gets across the 25 up to about the 28 as Broadway, I thought, tried to pull the football away quite a bit on the tackle.
Well, it looked like they did, but they had some good coverage downfield that time, and you could just see the ball that time punting with the wind made all the difference in the world. It just kept hanging, carrying downfield.
So Gate City takes over at their own 28. 1st and 10 with 2:45 to go in the first half. They lead. The Blue Devils lead in this Group AA Division III championship game by a score of 10-0. Osborne hands off to CEBER, tries to cut it back inside, and maybe only gains a half yard on the play. As Broadway's defense, I think, Mark, is might have figured out the Devil offensive sets that we've used so far.
Well, I don't know. It could be that could have been first quarter jitters had a whole lot to do with it too for the Gobblers. They, you know, they've never found themselves in this type of game before, in a game of this magnitude, and you know, the Blue Devils have been here. At least some of them have been here before.
Second down and 10. Full house. Hand off to Smith this time, and he gets up close to the 29, maybe gains a yard and a half on the play.
Andy Smith on the carry for the Blue Devils.
It's Gate City right now with less than 2 minutes, I think, just trying to keep the clock running.
Oh, I see McDonald limping, asking for some assistance here.
Checking into the lineup is Japheth Bright at center to replace McDonald. I think maybe all he got was maybe an ankle twisted a little more.
I think he has that ankle taped anyway. I think that's his bad ankle.
3rd down and 9 with 1:35 to go. Blue Devils stay in a full house. Osborne runs the option, pitches, fumble football, and Broadway, I think, may have recovered the fumble. A big break for Broadway with 1:24 to go, as they've recovered a Gate City fumble on their own 28-yard line.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty big turnover right here before the half, Larry. And, you know, the last thing we need to do is try to give Broadway some momentum to take to the locker room, because they're going to receive the ball in the start of the second half.
Clock running with 1:23 to go in the first half. Broadway, after recovering a Blue Devil fumble, has it on Gate City's 28. Combs goes in motion. They hand off to to Glovier, and he's hit, knocked out of bounds after he gets up maybe to the 25-yard line of Gate City. Not much gain on the play, maybe 2 yards.
It was taken out of bounds by Ed Britt, number 8, on a really pretty good play.
And he really didn't go out of bounds because the clock didn't stop. It kept running.
He didn't get, well, he didn't, did he?
Inside of 1 minute, the ball was on the Blue Devil 25. 2nd down and 7. Collins on a double reverse. They hand off to Long, running back inside, and the Blue Devils smell that out pretty good. Stop him after he picks up maybe 2 yards on the play down to the 23-yard line.
Yeah, good defensive play by Darren Grizzle, Clint Weininger. You know, they hide the ball. Collins hides the ball very well. Perhaps not as well as the quarterback last week for Jefferson Forest.
Clock running inside of 20 seconds. 3rd down and 5. Collins brings his team up. Hands straight off up the middle, and Jake Houserath lowered the boom on Combs.
Yes, he did. He really did. I'm not so sure that Combs ever suspected that even going to be there.
With 2 seconds to go in the first half, Broadway calls timeout, and I imagine we'll insert their field goal kicker. They had a guy, Mark, I was watching before the game started. It was kicking 45 yards consistently, and that'd just about be where the spot would be.
Well, he has the wind at his back, too, here.
So we have a timeout on the field as we're all froze up and can't talk.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're not having to fight the wind as much as the crowd is outside, but they're still, with these windows open, a pretty good breeze coming into this press box.
Attempting the field goal, I think, is Baker, number 21, Greg Baker. And to hold will be Kent Nagy. The ball would be spotted at the 29. That would make it a 39-yard field goal. Gets a good center. Gets a good snap. And it's hits the goal post. Hits the crossbar. Hits part of it. It hit something and didn't go. it was heading straight down the middle and just hit the crossbar.
Well, it definitely hit something there. I like it. That's hard to believe, but I guess at halftime we'll tell you the Gate City Blue Devils lead the Broadway Gobblers 10-0. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
We could do this in stereo. We'll take a break and be back in just 1 minute.
For professional hair care, visit the Hair Studio in Weber City. The Hair Studio specializes in cuts, perms, color and highlights, and sells quality Matrix and Redken products. At the Hair Studio, choose from 6 stylists: Karen, Conda, Edna, Michelle, Scarlett, or Leanne. Also available is electrolysis by Phyllis and Donna, tanning beds, and jewelry. Call receptionist Leanne today for an appointment or just walk in. The Hair Studio, located across from Holston View Cemetery in Weber City.
There are many reasons people from Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee come to Roberts Tire and Recapping in Weber City, Virginia. Brand name tires for high-performance automobiles, 4x4 pickups, trucks, and farm equipment, plus a full line of retreading. Brake repair service for all cars, both foreign and domestic. The latest technology and computerized alignment system for both automobiles and trucks. ASE certified mechanics for tune-ups and exhaust system repair. That's reason enough to come to Roberts Tire and Recapping in Weber City, Virginia.
Graphics, quality offset and screen printing is available from experienced staff at reasonable prices. Whether you need quality printing of your business and personal stationery or products for your wedding or anniversary, State Line Graphics can do the job the way you want it done. State Line Graphics also offers custom screen printing of t-shirts, caps, and much more. So for excellent quality and all your printing needs, visit State Line Graphics in Weber City, serving all of Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee since 1989. Welcome to First Step Rehab Outpatient Clinic. First Step Rehab provides quality services of physical therapy and athletic training, as well as occupational and speech therapy. The certified staff at First Step Rehab specializes in sports injuries, orthopedic, neurological, and pediatric rehabilitation. Why travel somewhere else when you can receive the best in rehabilitative services right here in Gate City? First Step Rehab, more than a business, a part of the community. Located across from Gate City High School on Kane Street. Gate City Ford is having a record year, and to keep up the pace, they must sell 30 new cars or trucks by November 30th. Gate City Ford has a huge inventory of new 1998 vehicles to choose from, with special financing as low as 2.9% on selected new vehicles. Before you buy a new car or truck, you must visit Gate City Ford first. Gate City Ford also offers a full line of used cars and trucks, as well as genuine Ford parts and service. And be sure to check out Gate City Ford's new used car center, specializing in four-wheel drive and sport utility vehicles. Gate City Ford, located on Highway 23 in Gate City.
We're back at Legion Field. It's halftime of the Group AA Division III State Championship game between the Broadway Gobblers and the Gate City Blue Devils. The score at halftime is Gate City 10, Broadway nothing. This is Larry Shelton along with Mark Blanton, Tammy Tadlock, Daniel Doherty, Jim Benton, and our own field camera, Chad Griffin. So we have the full crew here tonight. Talk to me, Blue. Talk to me.
We do. We have the full complement.
Something's burning.
That's Benton. Oh. Thanks, sir.
As the Gate City High School Big Blue Marching Band is performing their halftime activities in this state championship game at Legion Field. Well, and a very good crowd today, a very good turnout, Mark. I would say in excess of 6,000 to 7,000.
Yeah, I would say I'd say that's pretty good. If there were 5,000 here last week or close to it, there's probably closer to 6,500 here today, maybe.
Well, a little bit about the football game, since that's what we're here to do. Your opinion, first half.
Well, I thought the Blue Devils did a great job, especially in the first quarter. They came out, they took charge of the line of scrimmage, they took charge of the clock and time management, marched the ball downfield, got 7 points, and it's just perfect execution. They came back, Larry, and really moved the ball downfield pretty good the second possession, and just got down there, and a holding penalty, I think, kind of took the momentum and took them out of the rhythm a little bit, and they're still able to come away with 3 points, and that's probably, I think that's probably what you got to do in a championship game. You got to take what you feel like's for certain there, and although we only lacked about 2 or 3 yards, they had been able to shut it down a little bit defensively that time, but I think Broadway has made may have made a few adjustments.
It seems like the inside running game, so from the second quarter on, Mark, or at least halfway through the second quarter for the Blue Devils, is yards been hard to come by.
Yeah, it got a little bit tougher going right there right before halftime inside, and yeah, it looked like, I'm like you, Broadway did a good job of shutting the Blue Devils down a little bit.
Did you notice any specific defensive changes that they might have made in
No, I really didn't. They're still in their basic defense, 53. I just think they did a little better job playing off the blocks.
You mentioned in the first half broadcast that you thought possibly nerves may have been a problem for Broadway early on.
I think so. I think it would have been. I think it would have had to have been a little bit of a factor. You know, nerves for both teams in a game of this magnitude, you know, adrenaline and emotions running high, but perhaps even more so a little bit for Broadway. And the Blue Devils have, you know, they've been in some big games in the last 2 or 3 years. At least this group of seniors has been. And, you know, they know what's at stake, know what's going to do. I think they came out very poised, and I think that was a very big key to that opening drive. I thought they were just very poised, and the execution was just, like I say, wonderful.
What do you think? What adjustments have to be made by Gate City in for the second half?
Well, you know, of course, you can't throw going into this wind. I think we've already seen that. You can't punt going into it. You can't kick going into it or anything else. So, you know, I don't know that we got to make much more adjustments. Maybe we keep doing what we need to do. Come back out, try the ends, try to get outside just a little bit, and I think that's going to open the inside back up. And you know, I think Andy Smith had some real good runs in the first couple of possessions, and I think that was key that we needed to get Andy in there and get him some good runs. I think he needed to have a good day running the ball when he got the ball, and so far he has. But I think the thing that opens that up is a little bit of the outside. You got to get them looking out, and then you're going to come back and bust it up inside with the quick openers against a 53 defense.
Okay, now Broadway's probably going to take the football and start the second half because they won the toss and deferred to the second half. Gate City then has their choice of the win after Broadway makes their choice of the football and to start the second half.
Gate City will take the choice of direction, I'm sure.
Do you take the win in the third quarter, or do you take the opposite end so you'll have the win with you in the fourth quarter?
You know, I like to take it in the fourth quarter, and I think that's up to each individual coach. If I'm coaching, I'm going to take it in the fourth quarter in case I need it.
Now, one thing I've noticed, Mark, I think Gate City's done an excellent job stopping the running game of Broadway.
Oh, yes.
The only time I think Broadway's been able to move the ball, they hit a couple of passes on Gate City, but I thought so far, and of course, like you said, time of possession would be greatly in Gate City's favor in this first half. Broadway has not had the football that much in the first half.
Gosh, the whole first quarter, let's see, I believe, what, 7 minutes and probably 36 seconds in the first quarter of play alone. Gate City had possession of the football, and boy, that really wears on the defense, like we said, and especially, you know, they got a lot of kids going both ways. That really tires them down, but I think the Blue Devils need to come back out and make a good first defensive stand, and that's what I expect they're going to do. This Delaware wing tee or the wing tee offense or a variation thereof has really not presented us with a whole lot of problems.
The only thing I see is, and we had read it early, that maybe they throw a little bit more out of the Delaware wing tee than some of the teams we played that run that offense, and they don't really run the Delaware wing tee per se. Their basic offense is only with one wing back and not the two that they have shown some here in the game.
Yeah, they have shown some semblance of running two, but when they do set up in a two wing back set, they usually put one man in motion.
Yes.
So it leaves only one wing back, but they do a lot of faking inside off of that. Collins has had some time to throw the ball too. So, but overall, defensively, the Devils have done a real good job against the ground attack, and I suspect we're going to see the same thing in the second half.
Well, to recap the scoring in the first half, in the first quarter, with 4:24 to go in the first quarter, Matt Osborne took it in on the quarterback keeper and put the Devils ahead 6-0. The point after by Adam McClellan was good, made the score 7-0 Gate City. With 7:48 to go in the second quarter, Gate City scored again on a 21-yard field goal by Adam McClellan that made the score 10-0 at the half. The only semblance of getting on the scoreboard for the Gobblers of Broadway was Greg Baker attempted a field goal, I think, from 35 yards with or from 45 yards with 2 seconds to go, and it hit the crossbar and was short. So that's the only actual time, and Gate City had fumbled. We're getting some scores in our earphones here as Appalachia is losing 28-0. Yeah, losing 28-6 in the first half. And Powell Valley leads in their game over, who is it? Powhatan?
Powhatan, yeah.
They lead by a score 7-0.
Both of those scores are quite a bit of surprise to me, especially the Appalachia score. And I believe that may be a first half score for Powell Valley. I think, well, I tried to get Mark Peters' attention right there as he came out there and threw that. Now I said halftime, and he shook his head yes. So
you figure their game started at 1:30, just like this game did. So I don't see how they could be any further ahead time-wise in the game than what we are here.
Well, we had a pretty quick first half, I thought.
Yeah, I thought we did.
Wasn't much passing, and not really a fairly penalty-free first half. I believe there was only 2 or 3 penalties maybe in the whole first half.
Well, as you bring that question to point, we'll look at stats here to find out exactly how many there were.
I thought maybe that would give you a...
But first, we'll take a commercial break, and then we'll come back and look at the stats and be back in one moment.
Football on Channel 30 is also brought to you by Weber City Drug Center. For all your pharmaceutical needs, visit Larry Snap and the staff at Weber City Drug Center. By Daugherty Brothers Chevrolet Geo Jeep Eagle. Stop by today and experience the Daugherty difference. By Photogenius and Image Consultants. For the best in photography and video production, choose the experts at Photogenius. By Big Break Exxon. Visit Big Break Exxon and run with the Tiger. Now with 2 locations in Weber City. By New Image Hair, Nails, and Tanning Salon, featuring gift sets, cosmetics, jewelry, purses, and more, all with great holiday prices, located in the Food City Shopping Center. By Scott Jewelers. Scott Jewelers is your quality jeweler with great prices on your favorite watches and jewelry. By Showtime Video. Showtime Video is your hometown video store with rentals of videos, games, and game systems. By Fantastic Sports, featuring clothes, collectibles, and more for the Tennessee Vol fan. By Southern Finance. Southern Finance is your independent community lender and Scott County's only locally owned consumer finance company. And by Robinette Steel, providing steel products for Southwest Virginia and the surrounding area.
We're back at Legion Field. It's halftime. The score, if you just joined, is Gate City 10, Broadway 0. The stats for the first half are Gate City in first downs had 8, Broadway had 1. Gate City rushed the ball 31 times for 133 yards. Broadway rushed the ball 9 times for 10 yards. Gate City attempted 2 passes, completed none of those, and of course no interceptions. Broadway attempted 5 passes, completed 2, and had 1 interception for a total of 28 yards. Total offense in the first half, 133 yards Gate City, 38 yards Broadway. Fumbles, Gate City did have 1 fumble and lost it. Broadway did not have a fumble in the first half. Penalties, Gate City only had 1. Gate City had a penalty, 1 for 10 yards, and it turned out to be a pretty big penalty, holding penalty inside the 10, inside Broadway's 10. And Broadway did not have a penalty in the first half. Well, they had a penalty, but Gate City declined it. So that means no penalties, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gate City punted the ball 1 time for a 17-yard average. Broadway punted it 2 times for a 27-yard average. Turnovers, first half, Gate City 1, Broadway 1.
1-1.
Yeah. But the thing we were talking about, Broadway rushed the ball
9 times, 10 yards.
for 10 yards. So the Blue Devils really so far in the first half done a good job shutting down Broadway's running game.
Yeah, they did, and you know, I expect we're going to see pretty much the same thing here in the second half. But you know, I think Broadway finds themselves in the same position that the Blue Devils found themselves in last week against Jefferson Forest. This first offensive series for Broadway is going to be a very, very important offensive series.
Yeah, I think you're right, Mark. I think too, probably. Broadway I think has quite a bit of speed. I think Collins looks good throwing the football, and evidently he's got a couple people who can catch it. The Blue Devils, I don't think, would feel safe with just a 10-point lead. I think they need to put some more points on the board.
Well, it's definitely need to put some more points on the board, but I think, you know, I expect we're going to see this thing open back up some inside for the Blue Devils offensively.
As the captains are meeting at midfield.
What's that? I think, Larry, we have an update on the Powell Valley-Powhatan game. Is Powell Valley 14 and Powhatan, which how you say that, Daniel? We'll call them the Warriors.
It's an
0.
It's an Indian name.
It's
an Powhatan.
Well,
just like Matoika is an Indian name, and it's Matoka.
Okay. Regardless of that, Powell Valley still leads 14 at halftime. I'm glad we're playing Broadway this week.
Well, I haven't called them the Warriors yet, but I've got a half to go.
What's Indian about Broadway?
I don't know. Blue Devils are going to kick off, and Broadway's going to receive to start the second half. And the Blue Devils have taken what amounts to be, Mark. Gate City will have the win in the fourth quarter as they're going to go into the win starting the third quarter here.
I kind of assumed that that's the way that they would do it. You know, if you never know what can happen. I mean,
Right.
You could be behind here in the fourth quarter, and you certainly would want the win at your back if you were down and needing to score.
Back deep for Broadway is Glovier, Matt Glovier, and Mark Long. There's 2 Gloviers on this roster. Both of them are seniors. We didn't get a chance to ask if they might be twins. But McClellan's going to kick it off. We'll find those things out later on. An end-over-end kick. It's fielded on the 36-yard line as McClellan kept it low and really just kicked the bouncer like he did in the first half. And does 2 or 3 things. It keeps them from a run back most of the time.
Keeps the ball down out of the wind.
And keeps the ball down out of the wind.
And prevents them with a chance. But, you know, the bad thing about that is you generally will give up some good field position or give up 2 good field position.
They come out in their basic set this time with Combs and Glovier behind Collins. They hand off to Combs, and he's ankle tackled, I believe, by Darren Grizzle after he gains maybe a yard on the play.
Yeah, Grizzle in on that. As you said, he hit him by the ankle, and some help from Andy Smith that time.
Gain of 1 is going to bring up second down and 9. The ball spotted on the 37-yard line of Broadway. Collins again brings his team to the line of scrimmage with a fullback, 1 wingback set to the right. Collins, bootleg, throws to his left. He's hit behind the line of scrimmage on a great tackle by Grizzle, thrown for a loss.
Yeah, Grizzle fought off his block excellent that time, was able to fight it off and grab a hold of Collins by the ankle, and as Collins tried to pull away, I think he actually twisted his ankle.
Yeah, he did, and you know how an ankle in this kind of weather can be, Mark. That ankle gets stiff about as soon as you get it twisted.
Yeah, it sure does.
A loss on the play of about 8 yards.
Well, that was an excellent play by Darren Grizzle. He just really actually fought through his block that time.
Puts the ball at the 29-yard line of Broadway. Again, they have 2 wideouts set to the right this time. As Collins throws a screen pass. It's caught behind the line of scrimmage, but The man a hold of him, throwing him for a loss there is Calhoun, right?
Calhoun, number 84.
He read that screen pass well.
Yeah, Josh made a good recovery. He actually had gotten good penetration back in on the pass rush to Collins, but as you said, he smelled it out as a screen and recovered very well and brought him down behind the line of scrimmage.
So doing the punting is number 43, Randy Enos. Back deep for the Blue Devils is Osborne and Housewright. It's a line drive punt that, well, neither one of the Blue Devils have fielded yet. Now, Housewright picks it up. He's hit and tackled at about his 30-yard line. There's a little confusion on who was going to take the punt, Osborne or Housewright. He hit off Osborne's shoulder pad, and Housewright really picked it up and saved a fumble deep in Blue Devil territory.
You know, I thought we had a good opportunity for a return that time, too. The wall was setting up very well, but took several Gobblers to bring Jake Housewright down, even though they had a real good opportunity to hit him hard and fast.
Blue Devils take over at their own 31. 1st and 10. If you're listening, you're moving. Blue Devils are moving from your right to your left. Hand off to Housewright as he stopped about the line of scrimmage. And this Broadway defense, I think, is shutting the inside running game down pretty good now.
Well, Larry, unless I just didn't see everybody or miss someone, I believe there was 11 people in on the tackle that time for Broadway.
Yeah, there.
Everybody on the field wearing green and white was in that pile that time.
Blue Devils may have to do a little something here to open that up, like you said, run wide or hit a little pass or two.
I think the options opened up very well for us. We may have to hit that outside to open this middle back up.
About a half-yard gain on the carry that time by Housewright. They hand off to Housewright this time out of the left halfback spot on a slant right, and he gets up close to the 35, gains maybe another 2.5 yards. Going to bring up a 3rd down and about 6 on the play. Ball spotted just short of the 35 of Gate City. As the yardage inside is much tougher than it was in the first quarter.
Well, look at these linebackers. These linebackers are playing real tight to the line. Look here.
Yeah, they're almost almost in an 8-man line, playing in the gaps too.
Yeah, they've got a 5-man front, but your linebackers are almost right up in the gaps.
They hand off to CEBER trying to get outside, and they play it pretty good, throw him actually behind the line of scrimmage.
You know, we talked about it before the show a little bit, or as we came on pregame, probably the strength of this Broadway team may very well be their defense. It probably was or is their defense. Or was, or something.
So really about a half-yard loss on the play as Housewright's back to do the punting now. And back deep is Collins to the quarterback to receive. They come with a lot of pressure. Housewright gets off an end-over-end punt that takes a Blue Devil bounce and rolls down to about the 35 where Gate City downs.
Well, really, that's a great punt into that wind.
And a good roll after it hit, Mark. That's about where Broadway had the ball on the kickoff at the 35.
The snap was just a little bit high that time. As took Jake just a little longer to get the punt off.
Well, Broadway came with pretty good pressure that time too. About 4 white shirts in there when Housewright got the punt away. They split out 2 wide outs to the left this time. Collins puts Combs in motion. And they pitch out to the left side to Glovier, and he breaks it back inside, gets around the corner, gets up the sideline, and is knocked out of bounds. As Gate City had that play stopped if it kept going left.
Yeah, but Glovier was able to cut it back and still had a lot of pursuit with Broadwater and Roberts, just able to elude them, but that play was destined to go nowhere the way it was drawn up and designed.
So after Glovier reverses his field, he picks up a 1st down. The ball's at the 47, their own 47. Same set, 2 wide out split to the left. Collins drops straight back. Gets some pressure. Throws the ball, has a man wide open. The pass is just off his fingertips, incomplete. The pass was intended for Matt Glovier out of the backfield, and Blue Devils really didn't have that covered very well.
Well, the coverage was by a linebacker that time, Nick Collibro, and I thought it looked like Nick was playing catch-up on the coverage all the way. I'm not sure if that was was actually Nick's responsibility, or he just saw what was happening and was able to catch up to it. But I did see Jake Housewright go over and talk to Nick Colabros. I don't know where he said, hey, you got to watch that, or just good job getting back there as soon as you did.
Second down and 10 for the Gobblers. They hand off this time to Combs. He breaks a tackle by Housewright, but there to clean it up is Weininger right behind Housewright, and Glover only gets maybe a half yard.
Yeah, a half yard, but I think more importantly right there, I think he escaped with his life. You know, Jake Housewright really had a bead drawn on him, and just Jake's over anxiousness, I guess, to pursue and to try to get in there and deliver a good, clean, hard lick, and just his momentum carried him past the running back.
We have a stoppage of play on the field. As
what do we got? What do
an
we
official timeout for some reason.
Mouthpiece, blood. What is it? Oh,
yeah,
blood.
Yeah, we have some blood spotted on Ed Britt's arm.
Looks like Ed Britt's torn some skin off of his right arm there. They'll patch that up and get him right back in.
Matt Osborne checks in Britt's place. It's third down and just about 9.5 for Broadway. Collins rolls straight back. Gets some pressure from Roberts. Hits him, throws him behind the line of scrimmage. Great job by Aaron Roberts.
Yeah, Roberts just was able to draw a bead on him and he kept Collins right in front of him and was able to take him down for a huge loss that time. I tell you, there was some good coverage downfield by Matt Osborne, who had checked in for Ed Britt.
Collins was thrown back at his 36-yard line. That makes it 4th down and 21. Blue Devils again drop back Osborne and Housewright. A low snap to the punter, but he's able to get it off, gets an end-over-end punt away that Housewright feels on his 35, tries to get around the corner, has a wall, but he's hit from behind as he gets up close to his own 40 at the 38. Thought for just a minute it was going to set up, didn't you, Mark?
Well, the wall had formed pretty good. Jake was had to take time to elude one tackler to get behind that wall and get over to his blocking, and that allowed some penetration by the Gobblers.
5:54 to go in the third quarter. The Blue Devils lead the Broadway Gobblers by a score of 10-0. Gate City, the last couple of times that they've had the ball on offense, not been able to grind out a first down. So this time they come to the line of scrimmage and a wing back set to the right. Two backs in the backfield, unbalanced line. Hand off to CEBER. He gets a little crease at right tackle, right in, gets up across the 40 to about the 43 and gains right at 4 yards on the play.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of thing we need to see, Larry, is going right back to that type of running attack where we can pick up anywhere from 4 to 5 yards on a run.
Really a gain of 5. Mark's going to bring up 2nd down and 5 for the Blue Devils.
And we're going to have another official timeout here for equipment repair.
As now we're ready, and the official winds the clock. Clock running at 5:25 and lower as we speak. Wing back set to the right, unbalanced line, strong side to the right. Handoff, Housewright. Gets up across the 45, only gains maybe a yard and a half on the play.
That's going to bring up, what, 3rd and about 4?
Yeah, a little less than 4. I'd say 3. Blue Devils need to make, looks like, Mark, just about their own 49,
yeah,
48 and a half, 49.
Yeah, somewhere along there.
For a first down, the ball spotted between the 46 and, well, closer to the 45, rather. 3rd down and 3 for the Devils. Osborne gets some pressure. Throws the ball intended for Housewright.
We're going to get a flag for grounding the ball, intentional grounding here.
Well, you had a receiver in this area here.
Well, I thought, but there comes, the flag came out.
Yeah, I saw him throw it.
On the pass rush for the Gobblers.
Well, he's going over to discuss this. That's the play that we tried to run earlier to get the ball to Anthony Colabro.
I think he may wave this flag off.
I think they should.
Pass goes incomplete.
Well, he does wave it off because Housewright was in the area, and the referee probably couldn't see him from where he was. That's good officiating by that crew.
I think it is good officiating by that crew. They went over and discussed it, and I think from the vantage point that the official had that threw the flag, he probably could not see the intended receiver where he was at.
So that brings that 4th down and 3, 4:35 to go.
We got to have somebody to get into the ball game here to snap the ball.
They don't have a center. Gate City's going to have to call a timeout here.
Take a time.
They don't need a 5-yard penalty, I wouldn't think, here. As the back judge looks at his watch, and he blows the whistle and throws the flag.
Flag on the play. Delay a game.
Flag on the play is going to back up the Blue Devils 5 yards back to the 40. And with this wind and Housewright kicking into it, 5 yards kicking into this wind can make a lot of difference.
Well, yeah, I would think that it can make a lot of difference.
So Jake Housewright now stands at his 26. They have 10 men on the line of scrimmage to rush, and here they come. Housewright gets off a high spiral that a fair catch is called for and made by Collins at his 35-yard line.
Yeah, I was going to say, again, at the 35, and that seems to be their favorite starting point in this quarter, the 35-yard line.
3 possessions, 3 starts at the 35.
You know, one thing I saw after we had the delay game penalty, Jake Housewright was visibly upset because he had, and you know, that's good senior leadership. He went over, and I don't know I don't know which player he talked to, but he, you know, I saw him point to his headgear and point, you know, like, get in the game. This is a championship run, and that's what you got to have out of good senior leadership.
Collins with a long count, hands off this time to his running back. That's Combs on the carry, and he hits at left guard and
Grizzle and
doesn't
Smith.
get much. I think he got a lot of Grizzle and a lot of Smith.
Number 53, Dan Grizzle on the stop for the Blue Devils.
Gain of about a half yard on the play. He got enough, we'll call it 2nd down and 9. Clock is down to 4:05, 3rd quarter. Blue Devils lead by a score of 10-0.
Been a fairly slow 3rd quarter, seems to me.
Well, I think it's going pretty quick.
Do you?
Yeah, I think it's moving along, and I'm glad. It's cold up here. Collins drops straight back. Rolls to his right. Throws a pass that's intended for his receiver, Glover, and it's over his head out of bounds. You know, they've thrown about every pass they've thrown to him, Mark.
Well,
out of the backfield.
Out of the backfield. Right out into the flats and
Number 2, Aaron Roberts, and number
going toward the sideline on a little out pattern. I think that was a good catch on the sideline that time by Coach Dan Rogers.
But did he catch?
Yeah, I believe that's who caught it.
We had, you know, something I noticed on the Gate City defensive backs that time. They bumped him enough to get him off stride in his pass route.
Yeah.
And I think Collins had to throw it away. 3rd down and 9. On the incomplete pass, they go to that double wing set. They put Long in motion. Collins drops straight back, gets some pressure, throws the ball intended for his receiver. And when I see a flag all the way over here on this side of the field, and I didn't see.
I don't know, what Collins really had to rush his throw that time. Got some good pressure from Josh Calhoun. And is this going to be a pass interference call?
I don't see how it could be over here. It's plumb away from the football. Andy Smith motions that it's toward the. No, it's offensive pass interference.
Okay.
I thought.
Well, I saw the flag came out, but it was on this side of the field, as you said.
on Broadway.
The pass was on the far sideline and overthrown at that and incomplete.
I think Jake Housewright had the coverage on the intended receiver at that time.
A medical emergency, and there's a car that needs to be moved. Virginia.
I think the Blue Devils will. I think it's a loss of down too, Mark. It is a loss of down, offensive pass interference.
Medical emergency.
15-yard penalty and loss of down for Broadway. So Gate City should come out of this play with pretty good field position.
Penalty is assessed against the Gobblers.
Well,
Broadway's moved back to their 22-yard line.
I think we've come close to getting a punt return set up on the last time, and maybe if we can get that one or two needed blocks, we can get a good return out of this.
Enos last time had a low snap. It rolled back to him to do the punting. Blue Devils look, he gets a pretty good snap this time. Gate City comes with some pressure. He kicks a knuckleball at Housewright fields at his 45, tries to circle to pick up some more yardage, tries to get outside, and only gets up to the 45.
Oh,
really,
goodness.
he's knocked out of bounds at about the 46-yard line.
Jake Housewright just lowers his head right there. You know, so it's like, I know you're going to tackle me, but, you know, if you're going to tackle me, you're going to have to pay the price. And he lowers his head and actually able to get about 1 more yard out of that. Instead of just stepping right on out of bounds.
Blue Devils had the punt return set up that time. As Housewright circle, I thought he could have, if he'd run straight to his right on the side he caught it on, probably could have picked up 10, 15 yards. But Blue Devils will wing back set left this time. Hand off to CEBER. He plows forward for maybe a yard, yard and a half on the play. Is
Brandon CEBER on the carry for the Blue Devils.
not much yardage inside.
Young on the stop.
Young on the stop for
Young. I'm sure that's a good old Virginia name.
Southwest Virginia. Well, Central Virginia.
Central Virginia.
For Southwest Virginia, we probably call him Yang. Two tight ends this time for the Blue Devils. Pro set. Wing back set to the left. Hand off Housewright. Busted up the middle across the 40 to about the 41. Gains maybe 3 yards on the play. Clock running inside of 2:40. Score, Gate City 10, Broadway 0. It's going to bring up 3rd down and about 5 here for the Blue Devils. Have a wing back set to the left again with Smith at that wing back spot. Osborne on a quarterback draw, and he gets absolutely nothing. Maybe back to the yard, to the line of scrimmage, and that's all.
I think that's a very good assessment. Absolutely nothing. That was stacked up inside big.
This Broadway defense has really turned it on since halfway through the 2nd quarter, I think.
Yeah, they really have. They're playing with a lot more intensity right now than they did even earlier in the game.
We're down to inside of 150 in the 3rd quarter as Housewright's back to do the punting chores for the Blue Devils. He gets a low snap. He's going to have a hard time getting it off. Throws the pass over the middle. That's complete, but it's not going to work. He's going to be penalties everywhere here.
Yeah, we got too many people downfield.
Illegal linemen downfield, so.
Well, you know what? When I first saw the pass come there, I thought, man, that looks like a screen pass. But I looked downfield. We had some linemen way past the line of scrimmage.
So a bad snap here has given. It's going to give Broadway excellent field position, I would think. As they're waving the flag off, we got a first. If anybody spotted the ball, we got a 1st and 10 out there. 1st and 10, Gate City inside of Broadway territory at the 47.
You know, the only man I thought we had an illegal man downfield. I tell you, I thought it was. Not that it matters, and I'm glad. I think that the man downfield was Japheth Bright, the center.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know. Maybe he wasn't too far downfield.
Anyhow, Gate City has it 1st and 10 on their own 47. I mean, on Broadway's 47. Full house. Hand off. CEBER trying to cut it outside. Waiting on his blocks to open up, and not anything's opening up much, I don't think, inside. As he only gains about a yard on the play. Mark, we do our best not to officiate, don't we?
I don't know whether we do our best or not. But
we just call them and not explain them, right?
Well, I'm not sure. I thought we had, you know, when the flags come out, I had to believe we had ineligible receivers downfield. But the pass went to an end. It looked like a screen.
And the pass was complete behind the line of scrimmage original, too.
Yeah.
Anyhow, 2nd down and 9. Blue Devils on the 46 of Broadway. They run a little Statue of Liberty. Housewright breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle, gets inside the 40, up to about the 38. Could have a 1st down, Blue Devils.
Well, that's a very good fake by Matt Osborne that time to actually took the ball and faked the pitch out to his right and comes back and hands off on like a little draw play inside to Jake Housewright. You know, getting back to that play before that we were discussing about the ineligible man downfield, that very well may be what kept that from being a penalty, as it was behind the line of scrimmage.
That could be.
I don't know, but I'm sure that somebody will correct us on that or tell us why that was.
The chains have been brought in and stretched, and it's 1st and 10 Blue Devils at the 37-yard line of the Broadway Gobblers. Well, Gate City with 22 seconds to go has made their first penetration, I think, in the Gobbler territory this half, right?
I believe they have.
As they have it now, 1st and 10, clock's running. Gate City probably will not have to even take a snap here, as the clock's the Blue Devils' ally. And there is the end of the 3rd quarter. We'll tell you that after 3 quarters of play, the Gate City Blue Devils in this Group AA Division III State Championship lead the Gobblers of Broadway by a score of 10-0.
We'll also tell you that Big Blue Championship football playoff action is brought to you by First Step Rehab. First Step Rehab provides quality services of physical therapy and athletic training, specializing in occupational and speech therapy, sports injuries, and orthopedic, neurological, and pediatric rehabilitation. First Step Rehab is proud to be a part of the Gate City community.
By the Hair Studio. For quality hair care by qualified professionals, visit the Hair Studio in Weber City. The Hair Studio offers 6 hairstylists, electrolysis by Phyllis and Donna, tanning beds, which would feel pretty good right now, jewelry and more. Call for an appointment or just walk in.
Absolutely. By State Line Graphics for quality offset and screen printing for all your business and personal needs. Visit State Line Graphics, serving Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee since 1989.
As we're back to playoff action. 1st and 10 Blue Devils at the Broadway Gobblers 36-yard line.
Need to hold on here for 12 more minutes, Larry.
Or put 7 more points on and hold on for about 6 minutes after we take that much time. A little mess up on the handoff as Housewright and Osborne bump into each other, but the results look good. A gain of about 7 on the play by Jake Housewright down to the 30.
Well, the results look good because there was a big hole for Jake to run through in there, and had he been able to get the ball and not run into Osborne, and not had a bad exchange, he may very well have gotten a lot more yardage out of that.
Gain of 6 on the play brings up 2nd down and 4. The nose of the ball just short of the 30 of the Gobblers of Broadway. Full house. Unbalanced line, strong side to the right this time. Hand off to Andy Smith, and he burrows forward and grinds and digs, and I think has a 1st down for the Blue Devils.
Now, Larry, we're going back to and doing what it looked like we did in the very 1st quarter of play.
Kind of mixing it up with the backs.
Well, kind of mixing it up, but we're driving them back off the ball some and being able to pick up 4 and 5 yards of carry.
It's going to be close enough for the officials to ask for an official timeout for a measurement. As the chains will be brought in from a far sideline, and it should be 1st down by football, I think. 1st and 10, Blue Devils. The ball's at about the 26 of Broadway. Blue Devils right here, Mark. I think if they could put one on the board right here, go up 17-0.
So that'll be.
It wouldn't make the game over by any stretch of the imagination, but it sure would be a little bit more cushion.
Yeah, it'd be. It's an all uphill battle if we put one more in the end zone.
Full house. Unbalanced line, strong side to the right. Handoff, Housewright, behind a block. Catch it inside the 20, down close to the 15. A block at right tackle that time, and maybe a lead block also by Smith. A good blocks that time by number 51. And 62. I believe, did the guard pull on that? Did Johnson pull on that play?
I couldn't tell you, sir. 71 was the right tackle that time, though.
Yeah, I know 71 was.
And that's Michael Lee.
I know, but I looked at the point of the tackle, and 51 got up. So, heck,
that's probably blocking on the linebacker, maybe. Just got that far downfield on the.
Yeah, I would think. You would think as fast as that play opened up, as it is 1st and 10 Blue Devils, it would have to be behind Michael Lee and Pearson on that side, right?
And as you said, a good lead block by Andy Smith.
First and 10 at the 16-yard line of Broadway. Blue Devils with two tight ends this time. Unbalanced line, strong side to the left. Hand off to CEBER. Bounces it outside. Gets down inside the 10. He's hit and knocked out of bounds. They're going to say back at about the 9.5, 8-yard line.
Yeah, that's a pickup of about, what, 7, 8 yards? 7?
Yeah, close to 7, I think. 8 yards.
That was a good play by CEBER to bounce that on outside.
Second down and 3 for the Blue Devils.
Clock running down to 9:56 and stopped on the out of bounds play. It's going to be second down and 3. Blue Devils need to make the 6-yard line of Broadway for a first down. This time they come to the line of scrimmage in a full house backfield, and Housewright goes to the fullback spot. Unbalanced line, strong side to the left again. They pitch it to CEBER behind some blocks, tries to get forward, tries to get around the corner, and maybe only gains a yard down to, well, just needed to get to the 6.
He's going to be close.
Yeah.
At the 6-yard line.
The 6 is about where the chain is across the field, or the chain marker.
Really, the Gobblers did a good job stringing that out that time. He had, when I say he, Brandon CEBER had some good lead blocking in front of him. Aaron Pearson pulled on that and had Jake Housewright out there lead blocking.
You know, Mark, that play by CEBER left, that play by CEBER right, kind of opened up something in the middle here by Housewright, maybe.
Yeah, or Smith.
Or Smith. As the chains, I thought, were motioned to be brought in, but
they're just too cold to move, maybe.
Yeah, they won't move. They won't come unfroze from the ground.
I'll tell you what, you know, it's gotten noticeably colder in this press box. I can imagine that what it is outside.
Well, they're going to go without a measurement and say third down, Gate City. Third down, Blue Devils, 9:49 to go. Full house backfield. Osborne keeps it. Cuts inside the 5, down to about the 4, has his first down. First and goal, Gate City.
And Osborne on the first down for the Blue Devils.
As the Blue Devils marching forward. 4 yards to go to put them up by 17, and only 9 minutes, 45 seconds to go.
9 minutes and 45 seconds away from a state championship.
First and goal at the 4. Gate City stays in the full house. Stays in an unbalanced line, strong side this time to the right. Osborne, hands off. Housewright, dive. Give him only the 1-yard line. Stop short of the goal line at the 1.
Good recovery there, is right. It looked like the ball was going to be, you know, I think probably the only thing was Jake wasn't able to outstretch his arms to get the ball to break the plane of the goal line, because it looked like that actually that the part of Jake's body had crossed the goal line, but the ball hadn't. Second down and goal to 6-inch line.
Give it to Smith. Osborne.
Okay.
Andy Smith, dive. Touchdown, Gate City.
Good call, Coach Shelton. Yeah, that's a good play. I like that. Give it to Andy Smith right there. You need a yard. Give it to the big man. Let him plow into that line and get that touchdown. And that's a big touchdown for a senior to say, hey, I had a touchdown in a state championship game.
So the Blue Devils, with 8:37 to go in the fourth quarter, go up on Broadway by a score of 16-0, depending on the point after. Adam McClellan gets it up, and the kick is good.
And as Larry said, with 8:37 left to go in this football game, the Gate City Blue Devils lead the Broadway Gobblers 17-0. Big Blue playoff football on Cablevision, Channel 30. Your Big Blue football connection is brought to you by Scott Telecom and Electronics. Scott Telecom and Electronics takes pride in providing dedicated service to the communities of Scott County. From quality cable television to cellular phone service, STE is big enough to serve you and small enough to care. And by Roberts Tire and Recapping. At Roberts Tire and Recapping, problems with your tires, brakes, and air conditioning will be eliminated at the best prices in town. Need an alignment or a tune-up? Bring your car to Roberts. You'll be glad you did. If you need air conditioning, you must be in Florida.
Bye. Well, we'll get the other two spots in a minute.
If anybody needs air conditioning today, they're somewhere where I'm not.
It's not here, is it?
And this broadcast is not going out via satellite, so I doubt if they heard that.
Wow. Back deep for the Gobblers to receive is Long and Glovier.
Kick it off for the Blue Devils, number 44.
The Blue Devils, 8 minutes, 37 seconds away from the third state championship. McClellan kicks it off. High end-over-end kick is fielded by Glovier at his 6. He gets across the 10, the 15, the 20, tries to break it, reverses his field. One of his strengths as he gets around the right side, and he's hit and drugged down on that far sideline at the 21 by number 82, Joe McMurray.
Joe McMurray, some good pursuit there by Joe McMurray, and good to see Joe be able to get in on a tackle here in this ball game. And I'll tell you, Glovier just didn't have anywhere to go that time. Larry, we just got a score update from WGAT Radio. Appalachia 24, Surrey 21. Ooh. Appalachia in a battle up there in Surrey County.
Yeah, boy. First and 10, Gobblers. With 8:25 to go, the ball spotted at their own 25. They have a wing back set to the left. Hand off straight to Glovier, and he gets across the line of scrimmage. Gets maybe 2 yards before he's tackled by Nick Colabro. Closer to 3 yards on the carry.
Carry for Broadway, number 42, Nick Colabro on the stop.
Well, really, gets closer to 4 yards. They just keep. It's going to bring up second down. We'll call it 6. Clock running inside of 8 minutes. As the Gobblers serpentine to the line of scrimmage. Wing back set to the left, wide out split right. Hand off to Glovier again, and he gets up across the 30 to about the 32 before he's tackled by Broadwater.
Yeah, Jason Broadwater, number 11.
Number 11, Jason Broadwater.
It's going to bring up third down and a long 2, short 3. They need to make the 35, their own 35, to get a first down. Clock's inside of 7:25 to go in the ball game, and the Devils lead 17-0. Wing back goes in motion. Collins drops straight back, gets some pressure from Broadwater, throws a pass that isn't, almost intercepted by Brandon CEBER. Had his eye on the football, had his eye on the goal line on the far end, but forgot to catch it.
Well, I tell you,
that rock hit his fingers and fell, I tell you.
Yes, it was. That, you know, like you say, that had to be like a rock coming in there. But Brandon CEBER had that all sized up and just hit him really in a bad place.
It's going to bring up 4th down and 3 now, as Broadway will go for it here. Why not? Down to almost 7 minutes.
Yeah, they don't have much choice but to try to go for this.
Put that wing back in motion. Collins drops straight back. Throws a pass that's complete. And picks up his first down before he's driven out of bounds on the far sideline at the 41-yard line by Ed Britt.
Yeah, that's been a fast play. They've either executed or come very close to executing every time they've ran it.
7 minutes, 2 seconds to go in the ball game. The Gobblers picked up a first down at their own 41. They come back with 2 wide out split to the left this time. Fake to both backs, hand off to Glovier as they fake the first to Combs and then hand it off to Glovier, and he's tackled at the line of scrimmage by Ed Britt.
I see number 2 Aaron Roberts and number 11 Jason Broadwater in on the stop also.
No gain on the play, little gain. It's going to bring up second down and 10 from the 41. Wing back set to the right this time. Collins, bootlegs, drops straight back. He's going to be hit by Calhoun and thrown for a big loss, but then the Blue Devils come in late, I think, And they're going to pick up a 15-yard penalty for a late tackle.
Yeah, I think Jason Broadwater's momentum just carried him on into the play, Larry. And you know, I don't think that was anything intentional. I think Broadwater's momentum just carried him in there, and he kind of already committed. But yeah, no, that's probably a pretty good flag by the officials.
Well, it was a good flag. He was definitely down. You just hope Collins didn't hurt.
Right.
It's going to take him a long time to get up. If he's able to get up, he looks to really be seriously injured, Mark.
I certainly hope not. And I know, like I say, that's still not a bad defensive play by Jason Broadwater if that's in fact who the flag was on. But Josh Calhoun had him from behind, and Jason's momentum just carried him on into the play.
You know, that's something that surprises me. That penalty was stepped off from the point of infraction and not from a line of scrimmage in high school. That's unusual. Most of the penalties come back from the line of scrimmage in high school. As we're looking across the field to see maybe if Collins is okay. I would think that probably.
Well, the officials went on the clock here.
These referees want to get this game over.
Well, I'm sure they're very cold too, but he's trying to wind the clock here, and we still got players down on the field.
Collins is hip to his feet and now walks off on his own power. I think probably he just got. I think it went helmet to helmet. Just happened. Collins' helmet was already on the ground. So now we have a new quarterback in. That is
number 12, I believe.
Number 12, that's Brian Harper. Into the backfield. It's going to be 3rd down and 6. Harper hands off to Glover running right. Jake Housewright gets a tackle on him short of the of his first down marker. Gets up, tackle is at the 48. It's going to be 4th down and about 3. They need to make the 49 of Gate City for a first down. 5 minutes and 28 seconds to go in the ball game, and the Blue Devils lead by a score of 17-0 in the Division III AA State Championship game. Collins back in, rolls to his right, gets some pressure. He rolls outside now as he's going to be hit and knocked out of bounds, and almost another hit on the far sideline by Blue Devil that time.
Well, I think we've got some extracurricular activity on the far sideline too. Gobblers kind of gathered around Ed Britt pretty quickly over there after he was made the hit over there close to the sideline. I thought Ed made first contact before he got out of bounds.
Well, it was close, Mark. It's hard for us to see as far as we were or away over here. But Grizzle really was a man that caused him to go out of bounds, I think. 5 minutes, 3 seconds to go. They hand off this time to Combs, and he's met this time by Ed Britt. Stood straight up behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, real good defensive play by Ed Britt that time.
No gain on the play, brings up 2nd down and 10.
The ball at the Blue Devil 48-yard line.
2nd down and 10 for the Gobblers. As Collins brings his team to the line of scrimmage with wing back set to the left. Well, double wing back this time. Long goes in motion. Collins drops straight back. Now coverage breaks down, and he's hit and tackled from behind on a good tackle by Jason Broadwater. As he's stopped short of the original line of scrimmage back at the 40. Well, they're going to put it right back at the original line of scrimmage. It's going to bring up 3rd down and about 10.
We're inside of 4 minutes now.
A white blazer, Tennessee tag, license 249 MEQ, a white blazer.
Clock running at 3:45 by the time they get to the line of scrimmage. Blue Devils lead, 17-0. 2 wide out, split to the left. Collins, straight back. Waits, looks, throws the ball, incomplete off the fingertips of Glover, as the Blue Devils had all the pass receivers covered well, and Glover just came back and
tried to bail Collins out, and it didn't work. But he needed to come back because Darren Grizzle had drawn a bead on Collins and had Collins running for his life.
4th down and 10. And we have a timeout call by Broadway. We'll tell you that Gate City Championship football is brought to you by Gate City Ford. Gate City Ford is having a record year, and to keep up with the pace, they must sell 30 new cars or trucks by the end of the month. Gate City Ford has a huge inventory of new 1998 models to choose from, with special financing as low as 2.9% on selected new vehicles.
Big Blue Playoff Football Championship game is brought to you by Weber City Drug Center, by Photogenius Image Consultants, Big Break Exxon, by Darty Brothers Chevrolet, Geo, Jeep and Eagle, New Image Hair, Nails and Tanning Salon, Scott Jewelers, Fantastic Sports, Robinette Steel, Southern Finance, and Showtime Video. And we certainly want to say a big thank you to all those people who have been able to bring you Big Blue football playoff action for this 1997 season.
Look at the far sideline over there, Mark. People are coming down out of the stands, getting ready to participate, I think, in the ceremonies after the ball game. 4th and 10, Collins throws a long pass down the field that is going to be intercepted by Brandon CEBER at the 20. Blue Devils had 3 deep coverage on that man, and CEBER picked it off. And now I see a little frustration on Glovier's part as he's kind of pushed off over there, as maybe it's just hit the Gobblers. Mark, this storybook season may be going down the drain for Broadway.
Well, Devils need to make about, what, maybe 2 first downs, maybe 1 first down right here, and
2 first downs, I would think,
2 first downs to put the icing on the cake. And I think you're right. I think frustration and the emotion is just setting in over there for the Gobblers, and certainly they've had a fine football team.
Look at that. They're turning the fence down on the opposite side.
Well,
yes, that's Gate City people, and our police force, I don't see them.
I don't know. That truly is Gate City fans, I believe. I'm afraid to say that. I'm afraid to say that it is.
Osborne hands off to Houseright, breaks it up inside, gets up across the 25, up to about the 27, gain of close to
40 on the stop. AC Cooper for
about 7 yards on the play. Clock inside of 3 minutes by the time the Blue Devils come back to the line of scrimmage.
2nd down and 4 for the Blue Devils.
It's going to be 2nd down and 4 for Gate City. Ball's just short of the 28-yard line of Broadway.
Well, you got to expect that when this game's over, there's going to be an outpouring onto this football field that the likes we have never seen here.
Nick Collabro in at the fullback spot now. Hand off to Brandon CEBER. As he hits a hole at right guard, right tackle, and maybe only gains a yard on the play up to the 30. It's going to bring up 3rd down and about 3.
I'd like to remind the fans along the fence, please do not lean on the fence.
Yeah, there's an announcement. There's an announcement about the fence.
Okay. 3rd down and 3 from the Blue Devil 30. As Collabro goes in motion. Hand off, Houseright. Gets a hole. Gets outside. He's up before sideline. He's going. He's going to go. He's going to go. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Jake Houseright. No flags.
What a way for Jake Houseright to close out his last game on Legion Field. Hey, is that poetic or not?
It sure is. I tell you, I thought for a minute it'd run out of strength, or the muscles had tightened up when he got to the 10. He kicked in an afterburner.
Yeah, and I tell you, he did a heck of a job just walking the sideline over here right in front of the Blue Devils home stands. But you know what's so fitting about that? It's on the home side of the field. It's in front of all these fans.
McClellan will attempt the point after. High snap. Osborne gets it down. McClellan gets it up. Splits them. 24-0 Gate City with 1:44 to go.
Yeah, that was a thing of beauty. That's going to put the icing on the cake, and certainly now the Broadway Gobblers are just, I'm sure, devastated.
How far was that, Mark? You remember?
No, I lost it. I just
38.
I'm just standing
Was
here.
it at the 38?
Admiring it. I tell you, that's just a thing of beauty. We've seen Jake Housewright do it so many times this year, and we've seen him, and he got a good block out on the corner he needed, was able to break a tackle, and man, these Blue Devil fans they're already lining up down here on the home sideline. They're trying to push through the gates, and this is going to be some celebration, Larry.
1:44 to go. Blue Devils, 1 minute, 44 seconds away from the Division III Group AA State Championship. This coaching staff, this community.
Jake Housewright getting hugs down along the fence now on the home sideline from a lot of the fans, handshakes, high fives. Matt Osborne.
Number 25, Adam McClellan in the kickoff for the Blue Devils.
Back deep for Broadway is Glovier and long. McClellan hits a high end-over-end kick. It hits and is going to be picked up at the 14 by Glovier. He tries to get outside, and now he's looking for a wall, but it's going to be driven out of bounds inside the 15 back at the 14-yard line.
Yeah, Glovier just finding nowhere to go over there that time, and he was brought down. And I tell you, Larry, I'm watching the sideline down. I don't even know who made the tackle over there.
You know, I'm just sitting here thinking, this may be the quietest you've been in a broadcast ever.
Well, I tell you, it's a pretty emotional time, Larry. I
know. I need somebody to help me with mine.
Yeah, I'm looking down there, and I'm just really already getting caught up in the celebration down on the sidelines. It's, you know, it's been a long time coming.
Timeout taken by Gate City as Coach Collabro, I think, is going to, Coach Housewright's going to send some seniors out that have played and replace them with some underclassmen.
Well,
Joe Church, Joe Church was coming out. Anthony Collabro is coming out. Sarush Safaris is coming out.
Yeah, and I think now we got Joe McMurray going into the game, and number 58 is
LaForce.
Chris LaForce.
Chris has been injured, not been able to play much all year, and now he's going to be able to say he got a few snaps in the state championship game.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. That's what I was going to say. You know, he's going to try to get, I would think he's going to try to get everybody in here that's even tried to participate in practice this year into the ball game.
New quarterback in. He hands off to Combs running left out of the backfield. That's not Combs. That's a new running back, too, so I need to get my head straight. That's Dennis Simmers.
Now, here goes number 57 into the game for the Blue Devils, and that's, is that not Robert St. Clair, I believe?
Which one? What was the number?
57.
I think you're right. A lot of new people getting into the ball game. Andy Johnson in at a linebacker spot. Quarterback. Hands off to the left wing back running right, and he's met by a Blue Devil over there.
That's 51, Andy Johnson in on defense, and 59, Zeke Spivey.
Yeah, Zeke Spivey, I think, is the first man that got
61 is who? Help me out. I've lost.
Where's your program?
I've got my program. You know, most of these numbers we've had memorized all year, but the JV ball, and now that we haven't seen any junior varsity ball in a while, and
it's inside of 40 seconds, inside of 35 by the time they center the ball.
61 was Nathan Godson.
Nathan Godson. Handoff this time to the running back out of the backfield. That's number 33. That's Ralph Killian. He gets up close to the 35-yard line.
And he's brought down by Brandon Chapman, number 40.
Short of...
inside of 10 seconds now.
We're down to 7 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ball game's over. Gate City has won the Division III Group AA State Championship game.
Yeah, what a game too, Larry, I tell you. A very fitting end to this ball game when Jake Housewright got the long run and was able to run up the home sideline in front of the home crowd for his very last time here, as well as it is for all these seniors at Legion Field. And as we said, it's been a long time coming.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mark. You said it. You said it's been a long time coming. I don't think it's coaching staff or this community. Anybody could have deserved it anymore. I think these coaches have put in some hard times since back after Coach Colabro came here, and have had some opportunities that we weren't lucky enough to come out on the winning side. But
yeah, Larry, and some very good sportsmanship by the Broadway Gobblers. As the Blue Devils fans swamped the Blue Devils football team, the Gobblers are staying around, waiting still to shake their hands and congratulate them. And well, I thought the Gobblers made a very good account of themselves, really.
Well, I thought they did too. I thought it was a very clean ball game. I think we were talking about the penalty that we got. I think it was just one of those things. I think wanted to get in on the play, and just happened the play was already over.
Well, you know, a lot of adrenaline flowing out there, and this, like I say, a state championship game, and Jason Broadwater's last game here in Legion Field, and you know, I think his momentum just carried him in there, and you know, that I don't think it was anything intentional. Jason Broadwater's a fine young man, played very clean ball as well as all these Blue Devils, and you know, you never like to see an unsportsmanlike penalty, but I think that's one that was just unavoidable.
Well, I think it's a very well-played game by both teams. Broadway had a good defense. Broadway made some adjustments, and up until really Housewright's long run, they did a pretty good job of shutting Gate City's ground game down in the second half. But I thought Coach Colabro and his staff did an excellent job. They got the lead. They knew they had the backs and the offensive line at least to keep the clock moving, keep the ball on the ground. You know, even with time, a lot of time left in the game, our defense was shutting Broadway down, and the clock was to our advantage, I thought. And the Blue Devil defense, I think the Blue Devil defense did an excellent job here today also.
Oh yeah, as they have done all year. And you know, still it's they're fixing to have the presentation of the trophy now somewhere out there in that mess.
Well, so far it looks like most of the facilities at Gate City have held up.
Yeah.
Well, if they presented it, I can't see it, but wrap it in royal blue and white and give it to Coach Nick Colabro and his coaching staff, the community of Gate City, Virginia, and the 16 seniors who played with a lot of tradition, a lot of heart, and a lot of pride today.
Well, yeah, they do. You know, gosh, we talked about it. This team's just full of heart, and man, this is a very emotional time for the seniors. It's a very emotional time for the community. It's a very emotional time, and a very great time for Gate City High School right now and all the Gate City communities.
Broadway, I thought, did an excellent job coming down, Mark. They had the long trip to make. It's one we've had to make many times.
Yeah, and you know, it's always tough to win on the road. It's tough to make a long trip and win on the road, but like I say, Broadway did. They gave a good account of themselves. I think they were very well representative. Their fans did an excellent job. You know, they've been very congenial and hospitable. I had a few people tell me that they ran into some Broadway fans in Kingsport last night, and they were very hospitable, very congenial people.
You know, one thing, Mark, again, this week, I never saw that the surface of Legion Field came into play in this game one time.
No, it didn't, Larry. And you know, they worked hard all week. The ground, Coach Colabro and his staff, I say the ground crew, which is pretty much the coaching staff here at Gate City High School, did a excellent job. But they were required to cover the field earlier in the week when the rains came, and then, you know, even though the weather was cold and the field was in great shape, really, for the shape that it's in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's in excellent shape, I think, for the shape it's in, like you said. I mean, what else can you say? I didn't see anybody slip today. Matter of fact, it looks pretty dry, I think, really. And with all the wind that's been whipping through here for the last couple of days, I don't say it could be anything other than fairly dry. And it looks smooth. That's all you can ask for is a good surface to play on, I think.
I'm not sure as to what's actually going on out there now. The crowd on the field seems to be pretty quiet. I can see the Blue Devil fans and the Blue Devil team crowded toward the center. I see Jay Calfry standing right on the 50-yard line.
I think the Broadway fans are celebrating their team. I think Gate City is showing some composure and some
respect.
I think you have some parents that may be addressing their football team. And, you know, for them to get this far, it's been something that they didn't expect, I would think.
It's still pretty much a storybook season for them.
Sure.
Even, you know, to be runners-up in the state playoffs. And
they may have lost on the scoreboard, but they really didn't lose as a high school today.
No, that's true.
Because no team from Broadway had ever been this far before in the playoffs. I admire their parents. I admire their football team and their coaching staff. I thought they handled defeat well today here, and I admire the Gate City fans for giving these people their chance to do their celebration, even though they didn't win the ball game.
There's the state championship trophy being held up, and at the 50-yard line, you can see a lot of the Blue Devils have their hands on the trophy, and that'll be another big asset to the trophy case at Gate City High School.
Well, 16 seniors and 50 players today, Mark, are the reason the Blue Devils are state championship. All 50 players on that team had something to do with winning this state championship today, whether they got into the football game or not.
Yeah, I guarantee it, Larry. From as you said, from the first day of two-a-days until today, every player out there contributed to this win. Now, they may not have made the spectacular run. They may not have made a key block. They may not have made a game-saving tackle. But every player that's been out there since day one contributed to this win, and it's as much a part of theirs as it is anybody here.
Oh, sure. You take those freshmen, those guys that had to be part of that scout team all week long to get them ready for this.
Absolutely.
To get them ready for Broadway.
You know, that's a very valuable part of this this team or any other team.
Yeah.
You've got to have that scout team, those players that, you know, are going to have their time here. They're going to be here, the freshmen and sophomore, and a lot of the kids that may not have gotten in the game today, or I hope everybody got in and got the opportunity to say that, hey, I played in a state championship game. But everybody that got the opportunity to just be a part of this team and be a part of a state championship team will know that they had a part in winning this trophy.
Oh, I don't think anybody will ever forget it. I don't know if I'll live very long if I'll forget it or not.
Well, I know, you know, it's the thing about it is it'll really set in on these guys. They'll have, and the community and everybody will have a lot of, it's going to be a weekend that everybody's going to have a lot of time to sit down and reflect about this season and what, you know, gosh, how very close we came to not being here. And
well, the adversity that we've had during the year, the number of injuries we've had,
you know, yeah, I was going to say it's really been quite a roller coaster ride this season has been. And we started off with a very close victory at Tennessee High back in the last weekend of August, and that was the starting off of a pretty good high to come away with a victory from a good Tennessee High ball team. That was early in the season, and then, like you said, the injuries we had to overcome. I think we reached the first pinnacle of that roller coaster when we came around with the overtime victories at Graham.
Yeah.
Then we kind of topped over and got down in the low part of the season when we came away with all those injuries.
Yeah.
And we, you know, we lost a couple of games to two fine single-A schools in Appalachia and Powell Valley, and that was sort of a real low point. And then we started our climb back up the other side on that roller coaster and came back and had victories against Abingdon and Virginia High in the playoffs, and then Graham, and then, you know, we got pretty close to the top, and last week against Jefferson Forest, and now, you know, this roller coaster ride is, unfortunately, it's over with for this year, but this is the way you want to end it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, how else can you? What better way to end it than with a state championship? You know, you're talking about part of the adversity that they faced. Going into Game 10, Coach Colabro had given me 9 different lineups.
Yes.
9 different lineups. Every week there had to be a change made because of injury.
Well, it was only starting at Game 10, from Game 10, 11, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. The last 5 games that we pretty much basically had the same lineup, starting lineup each game.
And I think that and the senior leadership of this team, having everybody healthy in these playoff games, and the leadership provided by these seniors, may be the reason the state championship came to Gate City today.
Yeah, well, I think these seniors just, you know, once they got the Jefferson Forest game last week, and they won, you know, they were not going to be denied. I think the leadership probably has shown several times. I think it's the brilliance of our senior leadership has really shown several times during the season. One game that came to mind for me is the grand playoff game. And I thought senior leadership really took over in that game.
It sounds like from all the scores we're getting that we're not the only state champion in Southwest Virginia.
Yeah, Powell Valley has now secured themselves another state championship victory over Powhatan. What was 28-7?
I believe that's right.
And Appalachia won their game.
24-21 victory by Appalachia. So 3 out of 6 state championships come to Southwest Virginia.
Probably in a 35-mile radius.
Yeah,
is that right?
Probably within a 35-mile radius.
Man, that's saying a whole lot for football in Southwest Virginia.
Well, Mark, you know, we've seen teams the years since we've been doing this, and even before we started doing this, that the teams, I think, once you get out of Southwest Virginia AA in our classification, it's more of a it's not a physical game as much as it is here with us. I think they play more. I don't know what's the word for it. What am I looking for? Help me out.
More of a finesse type game?
Well, kind of. I think you run a lot more. I see a lot different offenses than what we run down here. We basically down here line up and run straight at you most of the time. When you get into the other parts, I think you see a lot of I formation. Of course, we used to run a lot of I, but you see a lot of double wing sets. You see a lot of run and shoot sets. You see a lot of different things.
You know, more finesse type offense than just kind of line them up and run at you and good smash mouth football.
But the Blue Devils, I think you mentioned it the other night. I think one of the strengths of Gate City all year long has been their defense. Their defense came through again today and did an excellent job. They held Broadway to only 5 first downs for the game, and they held Broadway to less than 100 yards total for the ball game today. So we can look at these stats right now. We're trying to fill in some time here. Well, we'll take a commercial break. Our producer, Mr. Darty, tells us, and then we'll come back and look at the final statistics of today's Division III Group AA State Championship won by the Blue Devils by a score of 24-0. We'll be back in one moment.
For professional hair care, visit the Hair Studio in Weber City. The Hair Studio specializes in cuts, perms, color and highlights, and sells quality Matrix and Redken products. At the Hair Studio, choose from 6 stylists: Karen, Conda, Edna, Michelle, Scarlett, or Leanne. Also available is electrolysis by Phyllis and Donna, tanning beds, and jewelry. Call receptionist Leanne today for an appointment or just walk in. The Hair Studio, located across from Holston View Cemetery in Weber City.
There are many reasons people from Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee come to Roberts Tire and Recapping in Weber City, Virginia. Brand name tires for high-performance automobiles, 4x4 pickups, trucks, and farm equipment, plus a full line of retreading. Brake repair service for all cars, both foreign and domestic. The latest technology and computerized alignment system for both automobiles and trucks. ASE certified mechanics for tune-ups and exhaust system repair. That's reason enough to come to Roberts Tire and Recapping in Weber City, Virginia.
quality offset and screen printing is available from experienced staff at reasonable prices. Whether you need quality printing of your business and personal stationery or products for your wedding or anniversary, State Line Graphics can do the job the way you want it done. State Line Graphics also offers custom screen printing of t-shirts, caps, and much more. So for excellent quality and all your printing needs, visit State Line Graphics in Weber City, serving all of Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee since 1989. Welcome to First Step Rehab Outpatient Clinic. First Step Rehab provides quality services of physical therapy and athletic training, as well as occupational and speech therapy. The certified staff at First Step Rehab specializes in sports injuries, orthopedic, neurological, and pediatric rehabilitation. Why travel somewhere else when you can receive the best in rehabilitative services right here in Gate City? First Step Rehab, more than a business, a part of the community. Located across from Gate City High School on King Street. Gate City Ford is having a record year, and to keep up the pace, they must sell 30 new cars or trucks by November 30th. Gate City Ford has a huge inventory of new 1998 vehicles to choose from, with special financing as low as 2.9% on selected new vehicles. Before you buy a new car or truck, you must visit Gate City Ford first. Gate City Ford also offers a full line of used cars and trucks, as well as genuine Ford parts and service. And be sure to check out Gate City Ford's new used car center, specializing in four-wheel drive and sport utility vehicles. Gate City Ford, located on Highway 23 in Gate City.
We're back at Legion Field, where today the Gate City Blue Devils have defeated the Broadway Gobblers by a score of 24-0 in the Division III Group AA State Championship.
And the celebration still continues on the field, and the accolades to the players and all the fans and parents and everybody that was at this ball game has been on Legion Field today.
Well, I don't think this crowd will disperse for quite some time, Mark. I think those players will stand out there and rightly so, take every compliment granted to them. They should. It's been one heck of a football season for Gate City, and the coaching staff. I hope a lot of people are talking to those men. They don't realize how many hours and how much work the coaching staff puts in up here, not just in a football game, but all the laundry, all the marking of the field off, all that stuff.
Hey, all the time you spend studying films and reviewing films,
right,
from game time after the game's over with. On Friday night, they'll start looking at those films, and on Saturdays and Sundays, and laying out a game plan for Monday to work on the next opponent. A lot of hours have went into this state championship since August.
Mark, let's take a look at the final statistics for the game. In first downs, Gate City had 14, Broadway had 5. Gate City rushed the ball 52 times for 272 yards. Broadway rushed the ball 26 times for 33 yards. Gate City attempted 4 passes, completed 1 with no interceptions for 11 yards. Broadway attempted 12 passes, completed 4 with 2 interceptions for 37 yards. Total offense for today's game: Gate City 283 yards, Broadway 70. Fumbles: Gate City had 1 fumble, lost it. Broadway did not have a fumble in the ball game. Penalties: Gate City had 3 penalties for 30 yards. Broadway had 1 penalty for 15 yards. Punts: Gate City had 3 punts for a 24.4 average, I think that is. It looks like 244. And Broadway had 5 punts for a 31-yard average. Doesn't make any difference. Gate City won the ball game, scored 24-0. That's the most important thing.
That's the biggest stat that we've been able to see. Larry, a friend of ours has just come into the press box, Mr. Mike Jenkins. It's good to have Mike on board. Appreciate him coming up. And I'm going to turn my headset over to him just a minute to get some of Mike's thoughts on the ball game.
Well, here, you talk to him. Let me give him my headset.
Okay, that'll be fine.
Hey there, Mike. Mike, you'll have to get over here close.
We'll have to do that. We're
turn around. I'll put you.
Okay. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Good job. Mike, you've been a part of this ball team all year. I know it was a very emotional, and is still a very emotional time out there on Legion Field.
No, I've not seen the emotions this high all year long. And even in the locker room before the game, the emotions were so high. I saw Coach Collabro shed tears and walk out the back door and before the game tonight, and I knew that the coaching staff and the players were up for this game more than they'd been for any game all year long.
Well, I know you've been in the locker room before each game and have had prayer with the players, and you've been a very instrumental part all year into that. And at the pep rally yesterday, you told me yesterday you hadn't seen that much emotion and that much spirit and inspiration at anything. And we were talking about it earlier. The pep rally yesterday, I thought, was probably a very good kickoff to this football game.
Oh, it was an excellent kickoff, and the students were high for this game. We had close to 400 kids in prayer yesterday morning before the pep rally, and they do that every morning. Around 300 kids, a little bit over every morning, come and pray in that school.
Yeah, I think you told me yesterday that Gate City High School has the largest prayer group in the nation.
In the nation, a volunteer prayer group. Where it's not mandatory. Gate City has ranked all year long as the #1 prayer group in the nation, and there are schools that's much bigger than us, but no one ranks as high as Gate City as far as the number of people who come to prayer voluntarily every morning.
Well, Mike, I know you're a big reason for that. I know you've been very instrumental in helping organize that prayer group, and I think it's wonderful. Daniel and I had the good fortune of being there yesterday morning when that prayer group met in the gym, and I know it was a very inspirational time.
Yes, and you know, it's rubbed off all season long onto the players and the coaches, and I think it's made everyone have a deeper faith in their relationship with Jesus Christ, and knowing that that's where our talents and abilities come from.
Mike, Larry and I was talking right prior to your coming into the press box and coming up into our Channel 30 suite here, I guess, as we call it. Have you ever seen a more fitting way for a ball game to virtually come to an end than Jake Housewright getting to break a long run up the sideline on the home side of Legion Field in his last game as a player here at Gate City?
That was the most fitting. I've been praying all game long for Jake to score. I wanted Jake to score, and when he scored that, it was so fitting because he's done it all year long. And you know, Jake is an anchor to this team, and the guys look up to him. He's the leader, but Jake is probably one of the best high school players, if not the best, that I've ever seen. He is the total package, offense and defense, and not only that, but he's a tremendous young man, and every morning in the gym, Jake is a leader, and he's there with the prayer group every morning. But the way he finished this afternoon was that we couldn't have finished this game any better.
Yeah, I see another group of those seniors lining up down here for some pictures. Andy Smith and Anthony Collabro, Chris McDonald, Jason Broadwater, Darren Grizzle, Ricky Clendon, Brandon Seaver, Matt Osborne, Jake Housewright, Lazaro Marine. That's probably pretty close to about all these seniors as they're trying to. Adam McClellan, and here comes Adam in, and Ed Britt, and that's quite a fine young group of young men right there. As they will become part of this brotherhood of Blue Devil football players.
Yes, and Smitty was very instrumental in this game this afternoon. Some good runs on some key drives.
Yeah, he did. Mike, I want to thank you for coming by and spending some time with us. We appreciate having you in the booth.
Thank you.
We appreciate all that you do for this football team and also for this high school.
Thank you, sir.
As, we'll turn it back over to Larry here, and
well, Mark, it's about time for us to come to an end of our season. It's been a very happy, enjoyable season, I'll say, for me, and I hope for you, as we've had a good year. I think it's been a good year for STE Channel 30. I think this football team has made our season a good year.
Oh, I think it has too, Larry, and it has. It's been a lot of fun. I know, you know, we start early as well as this football team does, and the difference is along with the work that we do, we get to have a lot of fun, and it's a pleasure to follow this ball team, as it always is. And you know, I just really don't know what else we can say. It's, you know, it seems like it's been a long time since the third week in August when we actually started this with the Jamboree, but in one way, but then again, you look at it, and man, the season just really has flown by.
Well, it has. It has, and it always seems to do that for us once we get up and get started.
Yeah.
We love to do what we do. It just sometimes we don't know what we're going to do now for the next 2 or 3 weeks.
No,
but I think it's very fitting here as the crowd is starting to disperse for the first time today, or for the first time since the opening kickoff. The clouds have moved away, and we have blue sky, sunshine on the field, beautiful Legion Field.
yeah, that's right. Beautiful Legion Field, and regardless of what anybody else thinks, it is beautiful Legion Field to me.
And today has made it that much more beautiful. The state championship, first state championship ever won on Legion Field. I know Daniel's about to run out of film. We'd like to thank all those. We'd like to thank Coach Colabro and his staff for working with us all year. You people don't know, it's just a pleasure to work with Coach Colabro and his coaching staff, and the people at Channel 30 would like to give him all the credit, and his staff all the credit for the help and the efforts that they give us during the year. This group of Channel 30, Daniel and Tammy and Chad and Jim Benton and heck far, everybody that we worked with all year, just makes our job that much easier, Mark. And again, it's my pleasure to work with you. I hope the good Lord gives us many more years to do this.
Well, I certainly hope so too, Larry. And it's been, you know how I feel. It's been a pleasure for me just to be a part of this broadcast and a part of Channel 30. And you said it earlier. It's just great to be. And looks like Christmas has come early this year.
Well, it has. It has. And wrap it in royal blue and white, because I think that's what color Christmas is going to be.
That's a pretty good assessment. Royal blue and white. I think I'll wrap all my Christmas presents in that this year.
Get us out of here, Blue. Let's go celebrate.
I'll sure do it. For Daniel Daugherty, Jim Benton, Tammy Tadlock, Chad Griffin on the sidelines tonight, or to this afternoon, I should say. For Larry Shelton, I'm Mark Bland. It's been a pleasure for us to be a part, not only of today's game, but of your Gate City High School football season. Stay with us, as we'll be back in about 8.5 months.
Yeah, the longest commercial
break in history. We'll be back in about 8.5 months, I hope, for the 1998 version of this broadcast and of the Blue Devil football season 98 style. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas to all of you.